Hey everyone, my name is Systemic, and I'm a part of Artificially Unintelligent Gamers. Today we finished up recording our third episode of our podcast where we covered things varying from Area 51 to guns and marriage and dating today versus how it was back then. It's a pretty wide mix this time. So let us know what you think. Post any comments or topics you want to hear us talk about in the future. Let us know what you thought. The feedback is greatly appreciated. And please enjoy the podcast. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to an episode of the Oddcast, episode 3. Today I'm joined here with Severe and Paul. How are we all doing today, guys? I'm actually muted, never mind. Alright, today I'm joined here with Severe and Paul. How are we doing today, guys?
Doing great.
Not too bad. How about yourself?
Bad. Oh, I'm good. Y'all spoke at the same time. I didn't know what to do.
Panic.
This is your conscience speaking.
This is what happened. I panicked.
So what's on the menu for today?
Well, what was slated was what is up with the Area 51 bullshit and memes. Something to do with TRT, which I have no idea what the hell's going on with that. That one's all you.
Yep.
Maybe some gun stuff.
Ooh.
But earlier, before we were actually getting started, there was some talk about some womans. So.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, all right. So, slight backstory. I was friends with her for like 4 years in DC. She was super cool. Yeah, kind of a hippie chick, but, super cool. And, so like I was saying, she got a social media, Instagram. I think she was like going on some Appalachian Trail hike and wanted to blog the whole thing. So she started getting followers like a year before. And like I noticed that like she went from like, super cool, not really, no real strong convictions as far as, politics or, anything like that. And like as soon as she's on Instagram, she's posting, this is right around the Kavanaugh thing, and so she got, she's like, oh, I got my first protest arrest. And I'm like, who is you? Right. And so, fast forward and she's, her whole social media presence is like this whole anti-male the standpoint, it's all, like, oh, we don't need men are trash, da, da, da. And then she gets married to a dude. So I'm like, all right, and so, so I follow her and she follows me. So I gave him a follow so I could, sort of see what this guy's about. Like, like I was saying, she's a bartender, in DC. I'm sure she makes all right money, but the poverty line in DC is like 75 to 90K. So she's not going to be self-sufficient without roommates. But her now husband is in like finance and works for JP Morgan and, drives a nice car. They live in a nice apartment now. And my whole thought process on it was like, this guy's an idiot. Like, why would like her whole outward presence is just she hates men, and you sort of got into this legally binding marriage contract with this person that says that they can take half your stuff, and they say they love you, but they hate everything your gender represents, and you can't
they like
change
you,
that.
but not you.
Yeah.
Not what you are, I guess, but you.
Yeah, I mean, it's like somebody who's like, oh, I can't stand dogs. I hate dogs. I don't like dogs. Dogs are dirty, disgusting things. And you find out they have 3 chihuahuas. And they're like, oh, mine are different. Like, I don't know. And it seems like a sucker's bet. Like, I mean, I know you're about to get married, and this is coming from somebody who's incredibly happily married. I wouldn't change being married for anything. I love my wife. I have an amazing marriage. But marriage is kind of silly if you think about it.
The business contract.
I mean, it is.
In a way.
Well, I mean, if you think about it, like marriage stems from a very long time ago when, it was a contract that usually included like land, hey, for a little bit of trade agreement, you can marry my daughter, kind of deal, or, to bring families together to gain some sort of foothold in the community or power. And then it became, hey, women can't work, women can't vote. So women needed a man to provide for them. And that was a societal norm at the time. I don't agree with it, but that's what it was. But nowadays, like with the way the court system hasn't been updated in decades. So dudes get screwed in divorce court all day, every day. It's like, why would you? There's no reason to get married anymore, I don't think. I mean, it's silly to say, I love you so much, I want to get the government involved.
It is a bit of a pessimistic view, but if you look at it, if you love someone and you're with them, you're already with them, you get that aspect. They always say, oh, it's not about the money or the assets or whatever. That's essentially sometimes, like, I guess going to business school, just like looking at marriage, it's all it is like all it is, you're just merging assets together. There's no...
Yeah, I mean, it's all mergers and acquisitions, really.
But you can also say, well, all the merging of your assets and acquisition, all that shit, is sort of leveraging your word. You're putting your money where your mouth is, essentially, and leveraging your word against your assets, essentially. Because, like you said, you could lose everything, or half, or whatever, how it all works. So it's interesting for sure.
Yeah, but you're also saying, like, let's say, for example, okay, I'm 25 years old, and you're 25 years old, and hey, let's get married. You're saying that, what's the average life expectancy? 85, 90? You're saying that I'm going to love you and only you for the next 70 years. I change keyboards on my computer every 3 months. I can't go a couple months without buying a new toy.
What are you trying to say there, man?
I'm trying to say that it's you're betting on emotions. And like, again, I love my wife. I can't imagine anything that would make me not love my wife short of infidelity. But it seems like a crazy bet. And it's a crazy bet that I made. It's absolutely a crazy bet that I made. And I love being married to my wife, but it when you think about it, people do things all the time. When you think about it, you're like, oh man, every day I come home and I drink a 6-pack. That's crazy. But you keep doing it. It's, I don't know. It's kind of weird.
I also think there could be some advantages though as well. Is like, if you merge assets together in a marriage because you love this person, I think. I mean, I'm not entirely sure what I'm about to say, but like on the legal aspects and just the ease of access thing, merging your incomes and your assets together and filing joint taxes, when sometimes I feel like has benefits. Like buying a house, assuming you guys are on point together with your assets and liabilities and all that shit, and your debt to income ratio, you could get more power. So that's something we're talking about now. Actually, is like we're looking at buying a house, but it's like, okay, if we merge our shit and then look at the equation from that perspective, do we have more buying power, or was it better if we do separate, or like taxes? If we file together, is it just shit like that? There might be some advantages there.
Absolutely. I mean, my wife is in real estate.
She would definitely know. Yeah.
And there's a massive amount of deals that she does where, they say, okay, hey, look, we have to, because of, his and hers credit ratings and, their debt to income ratios and things like that. Like, this car's in both your names. If you refinance it in only his name or only her name, then your buying power is increased. And things like that. So, two people can come together but the flip side of that is when things go sour, the court favors women at an alarming rate.
I agree with that. I mean, my upbringing, I think I've seen horses with my family or involved with my family somehow. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's kind of nutty when you look at the statistics that What's also kind of crazy is like these lifetime alimonies that some people get, men and women. It's like, there was a guy, I think it was in California, that he was married 5 years and has to pay lifetime alimony to his ex-wife.
And I'm not super savvy. So alimony is just a sum of money you pay on a given like periodicity.
Think of it like it's like child support, right?
But without the child,
for your spouse, And a lot of men will set themselves up for failure with this because they'll say like, hey, look, I make more than enough for us to live comfortably. Why don't you just stay at home and raise the kids and da 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 da. And then, if divorce happens, she tells the court, well, he took me out of the workforce. I haven't worked in, 5-10 years. I have a very low viability in the market. So I need to be supported. And then these crazy judges will say, okay, well, for the rest of her life, you have to pay her.
Do that for the rest of the 70 years of life.
Exactly. That's like if you decide you don't want to use Verizon as a cell phone carrier anymore, but for the next 70 years, you still have to pay your bill.
Well, how does one get roped into that deal?
It's usually when there's a massive income equality, or inequality. Think Tiger Woods if he married the babysitter kind of deal.
Gotcha.
That he got caught with, or like I said, if one party says, it can go work both ways. Look at Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. She pays alimony to him because he was a backup dancer and she was a multimillionaire pop star. So he gets like $50,000 a month in child support, which I think is absurd. I don't care where you live. I don't care what school your kids go to. It doesn't take $50,000 a month to raise a child. It doesn't take $50,000 a month to raise 10 children. and then he gets like $20,000 a month in spousal support. And it stems from this thing that kind of blows my mind. This whole, I need to maintain a lifestyle I'm accustomed to, is where it comes from. Hey, we lived in a $5 million mansion and we drove, we had a Ferrari and a Range Rover, and, we went on all of these fine dining restaurants, and now we're getting divorced, and you were a school teacher and I was a hedge fund manager. And, the person who was the school teacher goes, well, I want to continue living that lifestyle. So pay me.
Can't you choose between monthly and then just one lump sum?
Well, frequently there's a prenup, and I've seen prenups as crazy as, if we get divorced for any reason, you get nothing. If we're married till I die, you get everything. All the way to, like there's crazy business contracts, and like you saw it with with these prenups where it's like, okay, after 5 years you get this much, after 10 years you get this much, and like that's what happened to Kobe Bryant.
It's like investing in fucking retirement at a job.
Well, no, what you end up with is embittered spouses who tough it out in these bad marriages to like a cop on his, like a detective on his fourth divorce, just hanging in there till he can get his pension. That's what happened with I think Kobe Bryant and his wife. Remember, he had that big scandal where there was some infidelity and some allegations of some misconduct, like sexual misconduct or rape or something like that. It was years ago. I don't remember all the details. But I remember he bought his wife this big old diamond ring. Baby, we're going to work through it. And she's like, yeah, baby, we're going to work through it. And then like 5 or 6 years later, she was like, you know what? I can't forgive you. I want a divorce. And it just so happened to coincide with like when the prenup said that she would get way more money.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's I don't know.
What always bugs me is like the folks that like they got a divorce, got a kid, and like they're doing child support stuff, and then the mom will leverage child support money plus some in order for the dad.
Oh yeah,
and that grinds the shit out of my gears. Not to have a kid or done that, but like just imagining that. And it, you have other articles that tie into stuff like that that are also say like, oh, like why are like divorced men with kids like without access like higher suicide rate? Like a huge domino effect, if that.
Well, I mean, it really is, and in the court systems in a lot, some states are much more fair than others. Now, granted, if you don't pay, my dad didn't pay child support. I actually ended up collecting child support payments from my father until my youngest brother, who's 9 years younger than me, turned 21. Because he was so far in arrears, a judge said, you don't have enough money to pay back all your arrears, so we're just going to make you pay child support on all 3 kids until the youngest one's 21. Or it was 18 or graduates college. So like one of those two. And so they garnished his wages, and my mom would get a check and she'd give me the money. Eventually I was just like, just put it towards my brother's college. Like I don't care. It's $200 a month. But like, there are some states where there was just a guy on Reddit. I think like 2 weeks ago I read this, where the guy was working on like a commission based job, and it was very market dependent, right? So like kind of I guess like real estate, where hey, the market's super strong, and or we're in a bubble, or the bubble bot pop, something like that, right? And so his his child support and spousal support was based on his highest earning potential, which the court viewed as what the highest he made in the past 5 years. But he was only making 40% of that because he had like one amazing year. And so his child support and spousal support together combined was $20,000 more a year than he made, like than he was even capable of making. And so they were going to throw him in jail for failure to pay. And he's like, he goes, it's not like I went from working 60 hours a week to 20 to avoid paying this. Like, I work 75 hours a week, all this and that. But, here I am. My income is essentially capped, due to the market. So, like, what do you want me to do? And like, he had like four court hearings and they wouldn't change it.
It all sounds like a nice situation.
Oh, it is. Not as crazy as all these idiots talking about freaking what are we talking about? Like Area 51. Let's all bum rush a freaking U.S. military installation.
What do you mean, military installation?
They
all want them thick alien cheeks, man.
A privately owned prototype testing facility, whatever you want to call it.
Area 51. Privately owned?
It is
the government.
Well, technically, the signs on the front door say government property. But
so why do you say it's privately owned then? Is it the globalists?
No, God,
Alex Jones?
No, I mean, well, you have like Lockheed Martin Skunk Works, which is their whole, hey, can we get this shape to fly? And what kind of what about this weird propulsion system? It's a prototyping thing. There's always been the whole rumor that's what's going on there. We have, we're testing, experimental aircraft and stuff like that. Like, do I think there's little green men sitting in jars of formaldehyde there? I don't think so.
Why not? What if there is? There definitely is. There's definitely something.
Okay.
But that doesn't mean aliens, though. It could be anything.
Okay, here's the deal, right? So if a U.S. plane crashed in a foreign nation, we'd probably go pick those people up, right?
Yes.
Where are the little green men's friends to see where they went?
They're in the jars next to them.
They're also 151.
Like, if there were aliens, like, more people, there'd be a little more evidence than, people who don't have a full set of teeth 9 times out of 10 getting on Unsolved Mysteries talking about how they got sucked out of their bedroom window at 4:00 in the morning.
But what about all the cave drawings and all the sculptures and the Nazca line?
Yeah, man, there's history.
Yeah, all the history.
Now that is some nutty stuff. Like when you look at like the Nazca lines, and there's the all these different, I guess technologies would be a appropriate word, where they say like there's no way that these stones were cut with the tools of the age. They fit too well together and stuff like that from 10,000 years ago or whatever. Like, yeah, but then there's the argument that like, did human civilization have a massive setback at some point in time that, put us in a second Stone Age, if you will? Like, were
Well,
we
we
really
know
smart
of
at one point in
one.
time?
We know of at least one setback when the what was it? The Library of Alexandria got burned down. I mean, that's
True,
not a
yeah.
huge setback, but that's one.
I mean, for the
And that's one
time, I
we
mean,
know
that was a huge deal.
of. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. But I did see an interesting documentary that hypothesized, and they had some decent arguments about it, that said that the Library of Alexandria wasn't ransacked. It was it wasn't sacked, it wasn't burned. Like, there was just a degradation of society, and it just went into complete disrepair.
So
And it just
basically,
sort of,
they got so advanced that it became like our libraries now, and they're obsolete.
yeah. Well, I don't think it was that. I think it was just like, hey, here's this old building with all this stuff in it. It was more of it was kind of like the Smithsonian in DC. People who live in DC don't go to the Smithsonian. It's more of a tourist attraction.
That makes
And
sense.
it became more of a, people would travel there to see it more so than it was, more used, and it just really fell into disrepair and then just deteriorated over time. I think that's an answer that's just lost in time, though.
Had to be there, man.
So aliens exist then.
I don't know. I mean, look, I mean, it's the Fermi's paradox. There's trillions and trillions and trillions of stars. Most of them have some sort of planetary system around them. We can't even see to the other side of the Milky Way. We can't be the only highly intelligent advanced civilization. We just can't. But it's one of those things like, does God exist? Well, yeah, prove it. Like, show me, point him to me. Let me see it. It's more of, I think the whole, is there other intelligent life out there, is a lot like, it's faith based. You just gotta go, I either believe it or I don't.
You're comparing alien belief in faith against God?
No.
Or comparing it to faith in God?
Yeah, I am. There's no science based evidence for God, and there's no science based evidence that there's little green men or purple men or any other intelligent sentient beings anywhere in this vast 14 billion light year wide universe. You either believe that there has to be intelligent life out there somewhere, because it's just the odds aren't in favor of us being the only ones, or you don't. And you're like, hey, look, there's nothing to say that there's little green men. There's nothing to say that there's any life out there. We're just a statistical anomaly that's so far on one side of the spectrum, it's not even funny. And same thing with religion. You either believe in a religion and you have faith in that religion for whatever reason you choose or was chosen for you, or you don't. There's no evidence-based argument for either one.
Well, we're getting deep.
I mean, if you think about it, like, are you familiar with like the stages of civilization? Like, we're stage 1, which is like, we recognize that there's other planetary systems out there, and like stage 4 is like, you can harness the power of a black hole to travel.
No, I'm not familiar with
I
that
feel like
video
this is
game.
something
Which
out of
one
a
is that?
game.
All right, no, so there's like 4 stages of
This is definitely Stellaris.
civilization on like an
pretty sure this is
interplanetary scale
Stellaris.
that scientists sort of hypothesize about, right? And
Where-
stage 1,
What is the hold on? What's the scientist? What's the background of this? Is this some random
Maslow's
video game?
hierarchy of needs.
hold on, I'm looking it up.
You're
I
going
go to
Eddie
sleep
Bravo
every
on
night
us.
listening to like
Eddie
it's the
Bravo.
it's the Kardashev scale, types 0 to type 6. It was created in 1964 by Russian astrophysicist Nikolai Kardashev.
He's obviously wrong because we made it to the moon first, so what does it matter?
Ooh.
A type 0 is a civilization that harnesses the energy of its home planet, but not to its full potential. So we're like a 0.73 on that scale. A type 1 is capable of harnessing the total energy of its home planet. A 2 is an interstellar civilization capable of harnessing the total energy output of a star. Type 3 can harness the entire energy of a galaxy. And a type 4 is a universal civilization capable of harnessing the energy of a whole universe.
Wouldn't you say, though, we are harvesting the energy of a star if we're having, things like solar panels?
Yeah, but not in its entirety, though. I think it's what the
Yeah.
determining factor is.
We're only using a percentage of it.
Yeah, we're using 1% of it, if that.
Yeah, like where there's like these domes that like are a theoretical thing where like you surround an entire star with like some sort of material, like a giant solar panel that harnesses all of the energy and somehow beams it to your planet.
Do you think that's what they have in Area 51?
Death Star. You never know. It could be Death Star.
Could be. They could be working on a Death Star.
Or a planet-ending device.
But if there's not little green men out there somewhere, why build a Death Star? It's like a giant suicide device. Otherwise.
Well, maybe it's not a Death Star.
Maybe we're just getting ready for Halo.
Maybe it's a Death Moon. It's not a star yet. We're starting at the moon level.
How are we going to get our hands on them, though?
On what? The moon?
On all the cool stuff in Area 51.
That's my question. Because
They're
there's
not.
precedent for people just straight up being shot for trespassing.
It was something actually Paul and I talked about earlier at work. We were like, I wonder how they're gonna, if they're gonna detain people. 2, if able, would they use non-lethal force? And I disagree with that one completely. And then 3, like how many of the population of like let's say 1.5 million do show up? Like I think a smaller percentage of that number will actually try and be assholes and do it. But like, what would happen to them?
All right. It's the same thing as like having a confrontation with a guy and 4 of his friends. If you hit the first guy hard enough, his friends are like, maybe no, right? Same thing. If there's 1.5 million people show up, 5 or 6 people get taken out by snipers, everybody's going to lose interest real quick because all the fun and games stops, and you're not fighting for some equality. This isn't a civil rights movement. This isn't a for anything. This isn't the right to vote or sit at whatever restaurant you want. This is just people memeing.
I don't know, man. Some folks seem pretty keen on giving these alien things that they believe are down there some freedom. So,
hey, at the end of the day, it could be a great culling of the herd.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but it seems like the memers of this entire event are divided into sub-factions, like the let's just do it for the giggles, and the I want to clap some alien cheeks, and the like I want to free an alien kind of deal, or I want to know what's going on. And there's some folks out there who are like really serious about Area 51 that I think are going to use this as like a segue to get closer or try some event. I mean, we had flat earthers launch a rocket to try and prove their point, so how far can we go in 2019,
Flat earthers, there's somebody you can have a good laugh at. I mean, I don't know.
What if we made it seem like Area 51 was fascist, and then you could have the Antifa show up, and then they could try to get in?
There you go. That might be a plan. I mean, I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. So when I lived in DC and Virginia, my wife had this POS like 98 Camry, right? And the radiator was on its way out. And so we're coming from her parents' house to my place. And her car started overheating. Check engine light is blinking. And that's a big warning sign right there. Temperatures all the way up. I'm like, and there was no real shoulder on the road. I was like, take the next right. The next right was the NRO office. Then that's National Reconnaissance Office for those of you. There you are. What happened?
Update.
Oh, yeah. And so, we turn into NRO not thinking, right? And and so I'm like, oh shit, because you see the guard shack and then you look up and you see a high rise with no marquee on it and you go, it's a .gov building. Yeah, we're met with M4s. They're in front of us. They're now behind us. You're trespassing. Yeah, dude, our car overheated. I told my wife to take the next right. You're trespassing. I get that. And so the guy shines his light and he sees the thing and he's like, okay, back all the way up and get the hell out of here. But if we didn't stop on a dime, they'd have shot us. And that's only an NRO office.
Well, I mean, it's like, I think in another class or, affected classified area, I mean, there's a video of like there's a tour company out there in the town that borders Area 51 and they take people on tours. And I told Paul this earlier, but like the guy was driving a group of people, 2 from the East Coast and 2 from the UK, I think. And he got distracted and he missed the little white sign and says this is now like Area 51 property, like you're crossing this line, is like trespassing type shit. Blew through it, and then within like a minute there was a white truck with a bunch of dudes with M4s and shit behind him and a Humvee coming straight out from the front, and they all got detained and removed. So
yeah, I mean they don't play. And I mean, here's the thing. Do I think they would use lethal force on a massive scale? Like, are they gonna freaking scramble a predator drone and drop a hellfire on the 15,000 people that actually have the balls to show up? I don't think they would. But realistically, we're probably looking at like a tear gas response. Whatever. I don't think they're going to bring out the phasers and set them to stun. I just think it's stupid. It's you're doing it for attention. Like I said, there's no real cause behind it. It's not a civil rights thing. It's not a protest against some injustice. It's they're memeing. So any armed response that they meet is going to scatter them quick. Especially if you consider, let's say, what is they like? Oh, they want to get 1 million people.
They already have 1.7 million signed up at least.
Yeah, signed up. How many people are going to get on a plane or do a cross-country road trip to storm a military base or a dot base?
Well, so like the numbers are like 1.7 going per se, not entirely true, and then like another million or so like interested, but have not yet confirmed going kind of deal. So it's like how many of those also are going to chime in? You're talking like 3 million people who have seen this and who've expressed interest at a minimum.
Okay, so let's say they get 10% of that. That's 300,000 people. That is not an unsizable force.
I agree.
They're going to rapid tear gas the hell out of them. They're going to use those little ray guns that make you want to vomit. You've seen those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They reflect light into your face and then
yeah, it's like a strobe light in some frequency that like makes you nauseous and like instantly hurl. I think Raytheon came up with it.
Yeah, you could just check it out on Future Weapons.
Yeah. I don't think they're going to freaking start mowing them down with, miniguns and
240s and miniguns, yeah.
Yeah.
They might. I mean, if they're running towards it, but then again, it's what, a 3-mile sprint to the nearest fence, I think.
Yeah, it's tactically speaking, it's an absolute slaughterhouse for any force that wanted to attack it. Let's say a ground force from a foreign nation decided they wanted to find out what we have there. It's a death trap. You have to come in by air.
World War I. It's no man's land.
Yeah. You're in the middle of nowhere. Where's your water supply? How do you plan on staging, feeding, hydrating, and sheltering that many people in the desert?
You haven't heard, have you? So this is an interesting point. So the town, again, bordering the area, they're all businesses essentially, and they're all preparing for this. And I think they want this to the sense as of like foot traffic and tourism shit. They don't really condone the messing with the actual facility. But some of those businesses have like bought out land around them and have cleared it out and put like gravel fields down. That way people can come camp. They have some people are coming to cater that shit. People have live music. Like it's like a festival almost, it seems like.
It's going to be Burning Man 2.0.
Yeah, but Nevada, Area 51, get fucked, so.
Area 51 party, yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, here's the thing though, right? Again, these are let's say 0.1% of them are trained individuals who at least know how to
I don't know
safely and responsibly handle a firearm.
I don't know.
It's Nevada, dude. I don't know. It's Arizona, Nevada, New Mexico, like region, man. Like those folks have guns.
Yeah,
I think they're responsible.
You got a point there, but
so do people in Virginia, and I see a lot of stupid people do that.
I mean, you're gonna have your idiots anywhere, but at the same time too, saying like a fraction of a percent is trained in firearms out of possibly, max population 3 million, I think is a mistake.
Yeah, 1% of 3 million, you still got what, 3,000 people with loaded firearms, which again is a shit show. You put 3,000 people with loaded weapons in a mob mentality with 3 million people, bad things are going to, especially considering, which was going to get to my next point, which is if you get a mob that big, let's say 50% of the people show up and you get 1.5 million people. Let's say 1.5. The mob mentality there is going to be so insane that it's going to be on the razor's edge of pandemonium at any time. What could start out as 1 million to 1.5 million people standing outside chanting, "Let us in, let us in, let us in." All it takes is for them to get over these big loudspeakers, disperse or we will use force. All it takes is one guy to throw a rock.
Oh, yeah.
Or one guy to set off some sort of IED he cooked up in his kitchen, or one guy to crack off a round out of a weapon, and then everybody gets involved. Or, let's say 1 million people all storm the front gate at one time, World War Z, just zombie style, right? We're just gonna zombie run them down. One person gets killed, one person takes a shot from a sniper or whatever sort of defense mechanisms that Area 51 has in place. One of two things is going to happen. Everybody's going to turn tail and run, or it's going to stir up a frenzy. And they go, "We can't kill us all." And they're just going to run in there with their hair on fire, screaming, clambering over each other. A third of them are going to get trampled to death before they even get to the front door. And then what do? Okay, you get to the front door. What do you think? There's the same lock is on the front door at Area 51. It's on the front door of your apartment.
Probably freaking lasers, man. Cut your legs out.
Yeah. Okay. And let's say you get into the hangar. Okay. Let's use let's put on our thinking caps and our imagination noses. You get into this hangar. And there's a couple Ospreys and helicopters and some buses. You ain't getting downstairs or wherever the hell they're hiding the good stuff. I'm sure it's hardened all to hell.
What do you think the defense force is going to be? I was thinking just a platoon size element and then a few 240s and basically trucks with them too.
Several weeks ago, probably a force of 20 to 50 highly motivated individuals who are, former
That's why I'm thinking
special
like
operations.
a platoon size is about 100 people, right?
Yeah, but
okay.
Now that this whole thing's going on, it wouldn't surprise me if they were like,
4 platoons.
Okay, let's get let's get more snipers in. Let's get some emplaced weaponry. Let's stock up on the tear gas and the anti-riot gear. Of course they're fortifying, right?
Yeah.
If for a fact that some small element, let's say you piss off a local gang member, again, imagination hats, and that some small force is going to come try to mess with you in your house, you're going to make sure your door's locked. You're going to make sure that, hey, that gun I keep in the nightstand, I'm going to keep it on the coffee table now. You're going to take some extra steps. The government's not stupid. They're not going, yeah, right, whatever. Because some people are going to show up. Some people. It might be Karen sitting in her minivan going, "Hey, where is everybody?" But some people are going to show up. And again, if it's any decent size, you can get a good like brain dead mob mentality out of 100 people. I mean, you can see it when there's riots. Like all it takes is like 2 guys to like go, "Yo, let's flip over that cop car." Yeah, that'll teach them. They flip over a cop car. Now they're flipping over all the cars. And next thing you know, there's, people are breaking out store windows. When you get that many people together, people just kind of do what everybody else is doing. You can go anywhere, go to Disneyland and watch how people move. If one person starts moving a certain direction, most people end up going there. Like, it's just that easy. Stand in the middle of a crowded sidewalk, like sort of put your hand over your eyes and sort of look up in the sky and point. Watch how many other people just mimic your behavior, trying to see what that's all about. It's human nature. So all it's going to take is a very, very, very small amount of people who actually show up to this shit show to do something stupid before the whole crowd is doing something stupid.
I did some reading. Sorry, go ahead.
And I think that's there's going to be an interesting tipping point if anything actually comes of this, because you're going to have an element of that group that if one of these attackers gets injured by the defensive force, there's going to be they can't take us all, and how dare you, they killed Timmy, let's get them, they can't kill us all, because they already have that mentality. They already have that silly mentality. Oh, they can't arrest us all, they can't detain us all. Like, well, technically they can. It's going to look bad no matter how they do it. Like, let's say you set up a tent city for them and you detain them all. Not going to look good. Like, some media outlet's going to spin that as they've been put in an internment camp. But nothing good can come of this whole situation, and I think it's stupid. I think a much better idea is get it in something you'll get a lot more followers on. Hey, everybody, here's what we're going to do. April 15th, 2020, nobody's paying taxes. Everybody will agree with that.
I thought you were going to raid Pedo Island. That's where you were headed.
No.
That's awesome.
No, just shoot those people in the back of the head.
I agree.
But no, why can't we all agree on something that you can get everybody behind? Hey, everybody, we're going to peacefully protest taxes by just not filing our taxes and not paying any taxes. Well, again, theoretically speaking, though, what can the government do if, let's say, 60% of the U.S. population decides I'm not filing or paying taxes anymore? Whatever you get out of my check is what you get.
Yes, they're going to go down their list of 60% of the population and start making phone calls and sending people to your house to get their money.
They can't. The IRS is already so backed up and so overwhelmed. They would have to use the entire Air Force. They don't do much anyway. To, like, they'd have to recruit like an entire Air Force, the entirety of the U.S. Marine Corps, just to start doing the paperwork.
Well, I don't doubt they would increase the national debt by a little bit, and then by hiring people.
But then what do you do? Obviously, because here's the thing: it's a misnomer. You go to jail for not paying your taxes. You do not go to jail for not paying your taxes. You go to jail for lying on your taxes.
Sure. We're getting off the Area 51 thing though. So I did some reading real quick. So apparently the dudes who patrol like the space between Area 51 and like the towns are contracted, not actual military.
I know.
And then you have only two routes really, which is actually just one giant route to get in there, and that's one giant road that takes about 2 hours to drive from visitor center all the way to the site. There's a whole lot of land and sensors and shit between you and getting there in the first place.
Exactly, and that's the thing. There's miles and miles of motion sensors and IR sensors and radiation detectors, things like that. You're basically, obviously nobody knows, because all the security protocols for the places we're talking about, Area 51, I'm about to talk about like the Pentagon and the White House. Their security protocols, by and large, are classified. You may as well say we're going to storm the Pentagon, or we're going to storm the White House. We're going to physically take Donald Trump out. FBI, CIA, NSA, we're not. We're talking theoretics.
FBI guy that's listening, we're just joking. We're not going to do any of that.
Yeah.
Maybe get shut off, and what the hell happened?
It's silly. It's absolutely silly. And here's the thing: it would take a military element to try to infiltrate that on any large scale, and you've got a bunch of hippies, for lack of a more eloquent term.
That could also be a problem in itself, though. Actually, something else Paul talked about this today was like, let's say these people have the numbers to close the gap on the site, right?
Okay.
And you're saying, okay, mob mentality. Okay, what if a percentage is armed or some shit? So if Paul and I are correct, and this is going to become a festival type environment, last time I checked, it's like a hotbed for like drugs, alcohol, and shit like that. So now you have people like all drugged up and fucking cracked out of their minds. You know, people
and then
start
doing something stupid becomes an even better idea.
And then like people get shot and shit. They're not going down. Like I don't know. I watched a donut operator video today. Somebody cracked out in PCP on top of a dude laying face down. And he tried to saw his head off. The cop was like 10 feet away. Shot him 3 times in the chest. He didn't move. He had like walking up next to him like 5 feet, and then they shoot him in the head to get him off the guy.
Yeah, you gotta shut.
I was just like, what the fuck?
Well, I mean, here's the thing.
The real zombies, essentially, man. Like people coming to bite your face off.
But also, let's say they are armed. Let's say the attacking force is armed. Okay. Any percentage. It could be 100%. It could be 5%. When you're talking about the numbers that they're talking about, or they're the people that are interested in, say they're going. When you begin to attempt to infiltrate a secure government installation, you instantly become a domestic terror. Therefore, you can shoot on sight.
Well, I mean, they're already authorized lethal force for like misdemeanors at that place. It's not a not a playground.
Exactly. They authorized lethal force for trespassing. So, and this just dawned on me. Then the Hellfire missiles kind of make sense.
I mean, if they're in mass, yeah.
Then that hey, look, they're okay, they're not Al Qaeda or whatever banner you want to fly them under. They were engaging in domestic terrorism. They were attempting to take over a government facility. Because I mean, hasn't the government sort of acknowledged that yes, Area 51 exists and we test planes there and just leave it alone?
Yeah, they said like if people try to compromise national security, it's a big deal. They're going to defend it. So
yeah.
But there are people who are like, oh, well, what if it's radiation or some shit? We have a right to know, like, what's going on. I want to know what's in there. Yada, yada, yada. Constitution says I have a right to know. Blah, 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 blah. And, crazies.
No, the Constitution does not say you have a right to know classified materials.
Well, I know, but some people, sovereign citizens, man. Enough said.
Oh, dude, sovereign citizens.
That's what the aliens are. They're sovereign citizens, and they have rights too.
They're just traveling, and we've impeded their progress. We must pay them for their time. Silence is consent.
So what you're telling me is for like the past 50 years, there's been a bunch of aliens sitting at Area 51 just repeating, am I being detained? Am I being detained? Am I free to go?
Absolutely.
I do not consent to search of my craft.
I mean, I guess it falls under international space law, so it's a game.
Yeah, right?
So they get within 10 miles. I guess. I don't know. I'm not sure how that works. Where's the boundary, and when does our influence begin? Take a ride at the moon.
Atmosphere. I don't know. You gotta get Neil deGrasse Tyson in this call and figure it out.
Well, no. So I mean, yeah, we could go into the space treaties and all that shit. I fear that the population that does decide to go try and fuck with Area 51, if it is a number which the bodies at that site can't deal with, it'll reflect badly back on the folks in town. Like, I mean, if I was the guy dealing with that situation, I'd be like, I'm gonna push everyone who does not live here in this town out, like, for the national defense kind of shit. I bet you they're probably gonna militarize the town and declare martial law and be like, you're not coming in. Sorry.
That's the worst thing that could happen is anybody declaring martial law in any U.S. territory. Like,
I think just having National Guard deployed and sit there and be like, oh, you're here to party? Yep, then gotta go. Bye. Do you live here? Nope. Okay, bye. Checkpoints and all that shit.
Yeah.
I guarantee you they do not want any number of people, above the usual tourists or sitting there outside fucking town 2 miles out, whatever, 2 hours out. They won't fucking want that shit.
Yeah. I mean, it's
stop them before they even get a chance to set up.
Yeah. But because I mean, here's the thing: you're not going to get 1.5 million people at the front gate at one time. People are going to trickle in over a day or two.
Oh, sure.
3, 4. Let's say half that pot. Let's say half of that. Let's say 750,000 people fly in. The airport can't handle that. 750,000 people flying in one day.
No, and then the amount of rental cars also that you have to get out there.
Yeah,
no way. It's not gonna.
Yeah, again, there's no infrastructure. And here's the thing: I think the people. I don't think there's any central planning committee about this, but I think everybody sort of might have the same idea. sort of that whole, oh, they can't stop us all. It's like, well, no good can come of this. So no matter what happens, they're going to look bad.
Maybe they meant for that to happen, like a cell. You capture one group, it's like disconnecting the other ones. Hey, what are your plans? I don't know. Operate on their own little.
Yeah, just sort of cause chaos and see what happens.
That'd be frustrating. You have a drugged out hippie who's like trying to break into your shit, and you capture him. You say, "Hey, of course, you mean interrogate. Like, what are you doing? What's the plan? Where are your friends?" Kind of deal. And he's like, "I don't know. You won't actually know." So it'll be like, okay, well, they're still out there. How long will this ordeal last for?
What if this is Russia doing boogaloo stuff to us?
That's my next point. I was gonna say is like, so what if people use this opportunity for all the crazy hippie kids and Kyles of the world, all massed in one spot, and they decide to, like, let's say a bad guy who wants to do harm to America decides to have some IEDs in these tent cities, by these buildings and whatnot. What happens then?
Well,
I imagine.
I mean, here's the thing: if an IED gets clacked off in that group, it's going to be the government that gets blamed for it.
Oh yeah.
I'm saying like the innocent folks who are just there to like be a part of the bustle and just say I was there. Excuse me, they're there to partake in the food and drink. Yeah, and you're just there to hang out and do the festival life. Like that's, if I was a evildoer, I think that might be a juicy target, because you have a bunch of kids who are exposed, who are no cover. There's no real communication. It's just a bunch of dudes milling about in the desert all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Like, why, have people been concerned in the past about Burning Man? I don't know. Or Coachella, or those weird festivals? I don't know. I mean, drugs can get in, so what else? Why can't other substances make it past,
No, I mean, here's the thing. There is no, like, outside of, like, obviously, like, the security of, like, Area 51, like, any public place you go to, the security is only theater. It's only theater. Like, I remember it was like 2 years ago. A buddy of mine worked at Universal Studios. And obviously this was after, that big nightclub shooting we had here where the guy wanted to attack Disney. And so Universal and Disney both upped their security to like insane levels. Like, it used to be to get on Universal, they'd check purses and backpacks, but there were no like metal detectors or anything. And I always had a giggle at the fact that they would search my wife's purse, but I would walk through with a Glock 17 and 3 mags. And I asked one of the security guards as we were walking out, I was like, "What are you guys looking for?" And they're like, "Oh, looking for weapons." And I just laughed. Like, in his face, I just laughed. Because I'm like, you're looking through my wife's purse, and I'm walking through with a 9mm and close to 60 rounds. You can do a lot of damage with that, but I'm a nice guy. I legally carry a firearm. And then
it doesn't shoot 60 rounds in half a second, so I don't know, man.
Right. I need a bigger clipazine, a fully semi-automatic weapon. And so, so they upped their security theater when, after these attacks, right? And so I know there's metal detectors. I was just going in to buy tickets. So I took my Glock out of my holster, field stripped it. I put the slide in the trunk, put the frame in the center console, and I put the mags under the front seat. That way, you find one part, you're not going to tear apart the whole car. Whatever. It's just going to slow somebody down. But I don't have Glock stickers all over my car anyway, so I'm not really that much of a target. So we get to the security line, and my holster's all Kydex, but it has metal clips, and it sets off the detector, right? And so the guy's like, "Oh, what's this?" And I was like, "Oh, it's an empty holster." For what? And I should have said my phone. Because my phone will fit in my holster, and it's inside the waistband. So I'd be like, "Oh, look, it's just to make sure my phone doesn't get stolen in the park." He goes, "Oh, that's a firearm." No, dipshit. It's a holster. The firearm's in the car.
Plastic.
Yeah. And he's like, well, so he calls his supervisor over. And the guy's like, well, you can't bring that in. I was like, it's a piece of plastic. And he's like, you can't bring it in. I was like, I'm only here to buy tickets. You can't bring it in. Okay. Can I give you my holster? You give me your phone number, a ticket or something. I can pick it up on my way out. I'll literally be in and out in 10 minutes. And the guy's like, yeah, sure. I hand him my holster, and he goes, all right, you can go in. I have my knife on me. I don't go anywhere with a knife, but I forgot to take it off my pocket. And so I get back and I'm like, are you the supervisor for security? And he's like, I am. I was like, who's your supervisor? Is he here? The guy's like, yeah, he's over there. So bring him over here. And he's like, oh, okay. So he comes over and I flick out my knife. And I'm like, your security is atrocious. And I'm saying this in front of thousands of people who are trying to get in the park. He's like, his eyes went wide. He's like, what? And I was like, yeah, the guy you're paying minimum wage to wand people, he was like a puppy who got a treat. He was so happy to get a treat. He completely stopped doing his job because he found my gun holster and never wanded me again after that to make sure I didn't have anything else. I was like, so you know what that tells me? That tells me if I give you guys a carrot when I walk through, I can stash a small firearm inside my underwear and I can walk right in after I give you guys a carrot. In his eye, he was white. He turned white as a sheet. And he's stammering. And I was like, see, your whole security facade here is just to make people feel good. You're not actually helping anybody. I had a 4-inch knife in your park where everybody who walks through this thinks they're safe. And I was like, and if I wanted to, now I could just put my gun in my underwear, give you guys, come through with my holster again, go, oh, super sorry. Here, I'll pick it up on my way out. And now I have a firearm in your park. I thought the guy was going to have a heart attack. He was like, because it's security theater. It's there to make you feel good.
Well,
don't get me started on TSA.
Yeah, TSA is an interesting one. I think the best example of security theater I was taught, at least in business school, was when you do a transaction over like $15, you gotta sign the damn little screen. It's useless.
Oh yeah.
No, there's no signature gnomes that go, oh, this matches 89% pass. No, it's just like, okay, whatever.
Yeah.
Only time I've seen it actually used was I think some dude went to like a wholesale Costco thing, bought a bunch of shit, and then drew a penis on the machine, and it printed out. And the guy was like, "This isn't your signature. I have to cancel this." And the guy's like, "I was joking." Giant hairy penis, but yeah.
Well, what about you're supposed to sign the back of your card anyway? When was the last time you had that checked?
Did someone inspect that?
Yes. The United States Postal Service. If the back of your card isn't signed, they will not take it.
They're the only
if it
ones.
says CID, they will not take it.
Yeah, if
you
it's
have to do a debit transaction, they will not let you do credit.
Again, I could write like Robert Baratheon on the back of my card and go, yeah, that looks like a name, and then okay, move on.
Hey, fair enough. He asked a question and I gave it the best.
I lied. So I think I've actually seen. I think I had to sign one of my IDs when I was. I think they took the old one and compared it. That was the only time I've ever seen an ID scrutinized or anything I've signed on a card type thing scrutinized before.
Speaking of ID, you know that there's a state that like you only have to renew your driver's license like every 25 years? Completely random.
Texas?
No, but like I remember like because I was a bartender in DC for a short while. And that was one of the things that was in like our ID book because you get like a reference book where you're like, hey, this is what the IDs look like. And there was an asterisk next to this one state, and I don't remember for the life of me which one it was. But it was like these don't expire for like 25 years. So like be on the lookout for these.
Walking around with a 25-year-old's ID.
Yeah.
That's not strange.
I did a quick search, I didn't find anything yet, but that's pretty interesting. 25-year renewal. Be cool.
I mean, the most I've seen is, I think it was 8 years.
Arizona licenses expire on the 65th birthday, and until then, drivers only need to renew their photos every 12 years.
Okay, so that's 4 years longer.
Which when you're old and you're decrepit and you can't see anymore.
I mean, we're getting way off topic here, but I personally think like after a certain age, you should have to renew your license every year.
Take the test again?
Yeah.
Because
okay, hold on. So if you have a concealed carry permit, do you have to renew it every single year after a certain age too?
Yes, in the States.
Well, here's that's crazy because when I moved down to Florida and I got my concealed weapons permit, there was a guy in the office with me who was legally blind, and they gave him a concealed weapons permit because that's not a limiting factor on the questionnaire.
Yeah, but there's a reason for Florida man stuff.
Maybe he uses echolocation by screaming at the person. He knows where they are.
Florida barely follows the laws of physics, let alone any other law.
Florida man. What happens if they deploy Florida man at the gates Area 51? What's going to happen?
dude, that's dividing
You
by
could,
zero.
like-
You can't do that.
Could like fart PCP powder and like infect the 20 people around him and like enrage them and eat, zombie face eater people or some shit. I
Dude,
don't know.
did you see that there was like this guy was feeding alligators methamphetamine and using them as
Yes.
like guard animals?
They were like, stop flushing meth down the toilet. We fear.
Yeah.
That was Tennessee, I think, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Tennessee.
It's like we
Oh,
fear
alright,
you're
so
gonna
I got
create
confused
meth
'cause
gators.
There was a Florida man who was feeding squirrels in his neighborhood meth, and like they were going after people, like they were just cracked out. But yeah, like stop flushing your meth down the toilet. I'm like, who's flushing their meth down the toilet? It's like
Florida
that whole
man.
like, it's like that whole like, oh hey, we have to check your Halloween candy for drugs. Who's giving away free drugs? Is somebody out there who have so much cocaine or PCP that they just want to like give it away?
Just for reference, here's the link.
I don't know. I mean, I think after, yeah, that guy looks like he gives squirrels meth. Like, I don't know. I feel like concealed weapons permits. Like, honestly, I feel like you should have to do a proficiency test when you renew. Because
Yeah,
like I'm up for renewal in 6 months, and all I have to do is show up, and they hand me a new one. Now, like, yeah, I'm 37. I'll be 37 this year. So that yeah, I can see my dexterity's all there. I'm good. But like, yeah, if you're 90 with a concealed weapons permit, we might want to make sure you can still control recoil and hit what you're aiming at. But at the same time, I think, especially maybe down here in Florida, they're like, hey, look, if you hit an innocent bystander, that's on you. You're going to jail.
You're gonna die in 2 years anyway. Who cares?
Not only is that, I think it's, I mean, that brings us into the whole, like, I've had 2 situations where I no longer carry my Smith & Wesson Shield because it only carries 8 rounds. Just because the 2 times I've actually had a situation where I was going to need to draw my weapon, I was going up against 3 or more people. Neither one of them were attacking me. They were both situations where I needed to interdict at some level, but I was like, going back to Glock. I want the extra round.
Grok.
Hey, look, they're cheap, they work, and they're like Jeeps. If you want a fancy part for it, they're readily available.
I mean, that's what I use all the time. The 19, and then with the standard 15er, and then I have a 19 rounder.
See, I carry a 15. I carry my Glock 19 with a 15 in it, and one in the chamber, obviously, and two 17 rounders. And I've got a Glock 34 with the grip cut down to a 19 length, so I can run a 15 plus more.
Yeah, I told Paul this one actually, but there was a cop who I think had a Glock 17 or 19 he carried with him, and then
They carry 17s.
Yeah, but I think he said he started carrying like that 30 round mag for Glocks now because he had like a crap stop with some drugged out dude, and he basically shot like 60 round or some shit, and he was like, "I was my last mag in," but luckily he went down. But ever since then, he carries like 2 giant stick mags in his vest.
I saw that video.
Like, oh shit moments, and I was like, Jesus, if you need 30. Could you imagine holding that, like holding it down at the bottom to like just get better leverage on the recoil? Like, holy shit.
Well, I mean, one of the first situations is my wife and I were at like a Wawa, gas station, convenience store, sandwich shop.
It always happens at gas stations.
Oh, yeah.
That's where my 2 interactions
nice
happen.
Part of the neighborhood, like where houses are like 600 grand and up.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
I know. Well, so here's the thing, right? So I see this really nice, brand new Tahoe, and it's got wounded veteran plates on it. And, I was like, oh, cool. Like this guy's still doing it. This guy's, it's a $70,000 truck that, it's on some nice wheels. I was like, okay, cool. Like, it's good to know that this guy's, still doing well, even though he's a wounded veteran. I didn't think anything of it. And then I noticed there's 4 straight up gangbanging hood rats wearing colors sitting in the truck. Again, don't think anything of it. Hey, maybe he's driving dad's truck. No big deal. As I went in to get drinks for my wife and I as she was pumping gas. As I'm walking out, something tells me turn around. I turn around, and one of the bangers from the truck is pointing a gun. I actually remember it was a Smith & Wesson SW series, and he's pointing it in the vehicle next to him. Now I've got good cover and concealment because I've got a giant like pillar from that holds up the overhang over the thing. So I duck behind it and I'm getting ready to draw, and then I realize I'm screwed because I've got a 7-round mag and 2 spare 8-round mags. I've got 4 potential targets. It's 9mm, and if I miss, it's going into a convenience store. Okay, so obviously I can't shoot because it's going to go into a convenience store if I have overpenetration or I miss. But the big takeaway from that for me was pistols suck at killing people. You can ask any trauma surgeon, any ER doctor. Pistols are generally really shitty at killing. Not even killing, stopping a target. That's why when you watch police shooting videos, they dump the gun, because you can watch plenty of videos of people taking 9-10 rounds from a pistol and getting up. And so I'm like, okay, 4 people, that gives me maybe 2 rounds per before a reload. Like that's just wasn't good numbers in my head. Like I literally rolled that over in my head for weeks after that. That was kind of a no-win situation if that went tits up.
Okay, so then we have the value of carrying more than 20 rounds.
Well, actually, I think this is a good time to interject. Human Delta's chatting with me on the stream, and he mentioned earlier about our guns. He said he used a Glock 17, went to a USB 40, standard capacity 13, but he liked to have power. And I said, well, then you enter the argument or the debate of mag capacity / and or shot placement versus round size. Begin debate.
Shot placement is somewhat of a fallacy, and here's why. Center mass is easier to hit. You have a higher miss chance when you're aiming at the head, and the head is the last resort. Like, unless it's the only thing you can see, it's going to be seen as almost an execution style by a prosecutor. Unless it's the only thing you can see, or there's a good reason. Hey, I shot him 4 times in the chest. He kept coming. I put one in the computer. Which is why the general consensus in firearms instructors, like I've taken classes with Chris Costa from Costa Ludus. I've taken classes with James Yeager. I've taken classes with Larry Vickers. They all say the same thing. Start at the chest, move down to the pelvic girdle. You hit the pelvic girdle, it stops the movement. That doesn't work. Take down the computer. 2, with modern advancements in bullet design, 45, 40, 9mm, they all do within a decent percentage the same amount of damage. So I personally will take more bullets for more problems.
Well, I think that's what the debate is.
Yeah.
These folks are like, oh, I carry 1945 and I can put two of those in that guy and he stops him dead or whatever shit. Or, the guy's like, well, I have, 36 rounds and I can deal with him and his friends. So
exactly. And to be fair, a lot of 45 ACP evangelists, and I'm making a generalization here, think that John Moses Browning had a direct line to God when he created the 45 ACP. It's a big, heavy bullet. It's amazing if you need or want to shoot suppressed, because it's intrinsically subsonic. I have plenty of 1911s. I love 1911s, but they're range queens. They're range queens, and they're really pretty to look at, and they look great on the Instagram. Push comes to shove, give me a Glock. And in 40 Smith & Wesson, there's a reason the FBI got away from 40 Smith & Wesson.
Because it's a garbage round. It's too much recoil built in a 9mm platform.
Too much recoil. It's a high pressure round. It's like carrying 10mm.
Yeah.
You have over penetration issues. You have wear and tear on the firearm because manufacturers will take a gun that was designed for 9mm, scale it to 40, and the frame can't handle it. Look at the reliability issues with 40mm with 40 Smith & Wesson Glocks. And female FBI officers, by and large, could not handle the recoil and shoot accurately on follow-up shots. There's FBI statistics. It's something like when they switched to 40 Smith & Wesson, the amount of missed shots in engagements with people they were shooting at went up like 23% when they switched to 40 Smith & Wesson. Buy the gun that you can drive the best. Carry the gun that you can drive the best. Don't carry the gun with the biggest bullet or the one that makes your E-peen feel bigger. Carry the gun you shoot best with. If you can hit the 10 ring, with your C camp at 25 meters every single shot, carry your C camp if you can't do the same thing with your Glock. But you won't find me carrying a C camp.
Well, I think it just begs the question again, like the 45 believers against the guys who carry 9mm, like the whole again stopping power versus shot placement. And I'm not saying shot placement since accuracy is just like, I think I'd rather have more rounds for more chances to
exactly.
target or targets versus bigger, my rounds are 40 or 45 or whatever the fuck. Yeah, okay, dude. Like, what happens if you get shot in the arm first and now you're fucked and you miss all your shots? It's like, okay, you reload once, you have 16 rounds.
That's why my home defense gun is a Glock 34 with a 33 round magazine, a suppressor, and a Surefire sight. Or a Surefire light. Because that's for Sarah. It's like a Bic lighter. You use it till it's empty and then you throw it away. Because my wife doesn't train the way I train. So she doesn't have to worry about weapon manipulation. She doesn't have to worry about is the safety on, is the safety off? She doesn't have to worry about a tactical reload. There's 34 rounds in that gun.
Once you empty the mag, it comes a small blunt axe. You just grab by the mag handle and start beating with it.
And here's the thing when it comes to shot placement, and this is a ideological fallacy that so many people who they go to the range, they punch holes in paper with their concealed carry weapon. They say that they go, I practice every week. Every week I go, I put at least 100 rounds down range. Hit the 10 ring every time. I'm a crack shot. Cool. Next time you go to the range, have the range safety officer kick you in the nuts as hard as he can. Immediately draw your weapon and hit the 10 ring again. Because that's what it's going to be like when you're being shot at. Or that's what it's going to be like when you've had your head cracked off the pavement or somebody hit you in the back of the head with a bike lock. And now you have to try to get into this fight and make sure that you're the one that walks away. Or let's say you've actually been shot. Somebody walks up to you, stabs you in the gut and tries to take your money, shoots you, tries to take your money, or take your wallet, take your watch, take whatever. It's God forbid a loved one is with you, and now you have to defend them and you. And the whole thing is this: you can't defend somebody else if you can't defend yourself. So you have to be able to accurately play shots under extreme pressure and adrenaline. When your adrenaline hits, fingers become flippers, which is why I'm an ardent supporter of not having a safety on a carry weapon. Because if you're injured or you've been hit in the head with something heavy, or you get out of your car at a gas station, there's 6 guys there who all pile out of a van and want to fuck you up. I don't care how often you go to the range, none of that is going to apply. You need to practice shooting under stress. You need to go to training programs that teach you how to do that. Otherwise, the gun on your hip's just a feel good. It's 3 pounds of feel good is what it is. You feel better. But if you can't actually deploy that system under extreme stress or while injured, it's not really going to do much for you.
I don't know. I think it can become difficult though to actually simulate properly that same amount of stress. I think it's a training issue. I think multiple agencies and groups have, but and also practice, repetition. Like if you can get the motor functions down of a draw under stress, you should be able to function more normally than you did if you didn't practice that. Have the motor skills, muscle memory keyed in.
Absolutely. Muscle memory plays a huge factor.
Because when you lose your fine motor functions, you're trying to fumble the safety is gonna probably fuck you or whatever the hell. But I don't know. It's a very
just a simple fact of hey, would you next time you go to the range, make an idiot of yourself. Knock out 25 burpees as fast as you can, and then try to hit your shots. That simple exercise alone will show you how shitty of a shot you actually are when your heart rate's through the roof, when you're slightly out of breath and, you're a little shaky. It's those simple things that simply going and getting your CCW and going to the range doesn't it doesn't qualify you to defend yourself. It does not make you an expert in defending yourself.
But it's just a registration saying, "Hey, okay, this guy has a gun. Great, government knows."
Oh, I mean, I don't even think we need to get into that debate. I just think it's a fallacy that a lot of people who carry a gun every day make themselves comfortable with, that I'll be able to hit that shot when the time comes. And for a lot of people, I don't think that's the case. We can argue that police officers have to qualify with their weapon. They have to show the ability to exhibit excellent marksmanship, and they have to recertify with that at a given interval. Look how often police miss.
Well, I mean, sure, but at the same time, too, it's also based on state requirements. Like some states, you have to shoot the police, qual and, pass the same way they do. Others don't.
Oh, yeah.
So. And I was saying earlier, I was agreeing with you in the sense that you can go get your permit and all that shit, which is fantastic. Your license to carry and all that stuff, it's great. You're exercising your right and you're getting it, fantastic. All I'm saying, at that point, all you've done is said, "Hey, I want to do this." Government's like, "Hey, go for it. Here's your permit. We know. Thanks." It's on you to train. On those states that don't make you demonstrate that, like my Virginia one, didn't have to. When I sent my paperwork in, I supplied the backup, like, "Hey, I've done these courses for firearms training and safety. I've done these things. I've shooting and competing, yada yada yada." And then looking at this course here compared to DC's course for the carry gun, while they do issue them, it's a much harder. You have to basically qualify the same as DC police. So
yeah.
After it's like 1 day all classroom instruction and law stuff, and then the second day is all quals, and then you have to pass if you don't. But I mean, at the same time too, some of these testing quals aren't that hard if you've are not a novice shooter and it can shoot a handgun effectively.
Yeah.
Without being kicked in the nuts or doing burpees. I was gonna say though, one cool thing we did when I was at school was we did like a running biathlon, and just doing standing and shooting like a little duck target you see at like carnivals and shit at like 15 or 20 feet away. It's a whole new ball game.
It really is. It really is. I mean, it's down here in Florida. I was kind of appalled at the minimum level of qualifications. I sat through like a 6-hour class, and the guy literally came up and he's like, "Just stop raising your hand. I already know you and all the answers." Because he's like, "Okay, what do you do?" And I'm like, "All right." And then all you had to do was you had to show that you could unload and reload a semi-automatic pistol, unload and reload a revolver. You had to know how to clear and show safe, and you had to hit. You were given 5 rounds, and it's 7 meters. You had to get at least 3 on a 12x12 target.
Yeah, that doesn't sound too painful. I mean, my guy just showed up, took a course, and said, "He was like, you understand?" I'm like, "Yep." And then said, "Okay, take this form to the courthouse."
Yeah. Oh, you had to go to the courthouse?
Yeah.
Our Department of Agriculture, of all places, takes care of it, which kind of sucks because it takes the police like 2 hours to confirm a carry permit's valid.
I mean, I live in a city, like city limits.
No, true.
I mean, I think the support documents I sent helped get it processed faster because mine was done within like a fraction of the time.
Yeah, so we have offices down here that let you like you go to the Department of Agriculture office, they do the electronic fingerprints, and you walk out. If you're approved, you walk out with your carry permit that day.
Pretty neat. Yeah, I think if you do it in person, it's same day, but I just mailed mine in. And
yeah.
Right, I think I need a break real quick. I need to feed the dogs, use the bathroom, get a drink, and I think Paul actually stepped away. So let's take like a quick 5 or 10 minute break, and we'll come back and continue this.
Yeah, for sure. A sequel to Top Gun.
Yeah. I haven't watched the trailer, but I saw that they released a trailer.
Yeah. I don't know. It looks kind of interesting. I kind of feel like I owe it to check it out. It was a big movie in my childhood.
Homage to the first one. Can't not see it.
Yeah.
I don't know. I never really cared for Top Gun, so I don't think I'm gonna see the second one.
Oh,
Right.
Whatever.
whatever.
Burn the heretic.
I'm not sure there really is an off topic in this film, so anything goes.
What if in Area 51 they have dinosaurs?
On some Jurassic Park?
They have dinosaurs already called gators.
And
Ones
ostriches,
that
dude.
people don't feed meth in Florida. Ones that are kept sacred because they're the last ones remaining.
If you think about it, like humans are have a lot of hubris and thinking like, okay, because we're the smartest things on the planet, that like, we're at the top. But alligators haven't had to evolve in like 100 million years or some crazy shit like that. Like
That's because they've been doing the same thing for 100 million years. They
Yeah.
go sit in the
Finger
mud
small
puddle
cats and
eat stuff.
dogs.
Yeah,
yeah, obvious. We're not putting alligators on the moon, and alligators certainly
that's what you
themselves.
think.
Oh my god, space alligators with lasers.
That's what we need.
Fuck
Space
the
alligators.
aliens, man. It's over.
Space gators. There's a movie. All right, you guys owe it to yourself. It's an esoteric movie. It might be difficult to find, but you need to find the movie Irons. I think it's Iron Sky. It's an insanely it's such a bad movie. It's funny.
Does it have alligators?
No.
Oh, what made you think of it then?
Just talking about the moon and crazy stuff.
What is it called? Iron Sky?
Hold on. Yeah, okay. It's called Iron Sky. It came out in 2012. Okay. And it is
Take a peek.
It's one of those movies that's so bad it's good.
There's an Iron Sky 3, 2018.
Wait, did they make the sequel? No, because they crowdfunded the first movie, and they were crowdfunding a second movie after like I watched the first one on. I think I watched it on like Netflix or something years ago.
Crowdfund.
But the whole premise of the movie is that like shortly before their defeat, the Nazis like fled to the moon, and on the dark side of the moon, they built this military base where they had been like sort of technologically stagnant. And then like, so we sent we sent another manned mission to the moon, and they found to the dark side of the moon, and we found them, and like they were like blown away by like an iPhone, and they were like, we have to get this. It'll technologically take us to the future. It was it's way out of left field, I know, but like it's one of the best bad movies you'll ever see.
There's an Iron Sky 2 trailer released this year.
Ooh.
Got a 5 out of 10 on.
Oh, dude, I never said it was a good movie. I said it's so bad it's good.
What does the world come to?
Dude, I don't know. We got people searching for aliens in the desert. We got, I don't know, man. I blame the influencer social hierarchy.
Oh, that whole. I think it's Paul's turn to pick a topic.
Paul.
Quiet, I think.
Paul is a man of few words.
Yes, I am. More of a listener. We talked about guns already. Kind of. We can talk about a C8 Corvette. Did you see that?
Oh, that's
Ooh.
Yeah, the thing's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah, the mid-engine.
Yeah, mid-engine Corvette.
What?
That made my pee-pee hurt.
Yeah, I stayed up. What? Why did it make it hurt?
Hurd. H-U-R-D.
Oh.
Hurd.
Okay.
My pee-pee hurt.
He's not one with the memes.
No. Paul, get with the meme. Get meme generator. Dude, I'm 37 and I know
because he's not with Top Gun.
Yes, that's
the Great Balls of Fire thing was the first meme ever created. Let's be real.
Right?
Because we were fire.
Because Systemic and we were inverted.
I know that. I know the inverted thing.
I mean, I did have to show you the Great Balls of Fire scene though, where it was like,
what Great Balls of Fire?
they go on the piano and it's like, all the Tarnation's Great Balls of Fire.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. Now you remember
The bar scene.
Yeah, the bar scene. That tiny like blonde
As you can
chick.
tell, it wasn't that important to me. It didn't have it. It wasn't effective.
Nothing pleases you, Paul.
Not really, no.
I'm
Except
just
for
grateful
the
I'm actually
Corvette.
old enough to start driving a Corvette without looking like I'm driving my daddy's car.
It doesn't matter. You can drive it at any age. Who cares? They're not driving a Corvette, and you. That's all that matters.
Right?
Yeah. Who cares?
That tends to be why I kind of gravitate towards like old school muscle, because
You only like to go fast, going straight instead of around turns.
no, because from
so
like
condescending, Paul.
no, it comes to a point like, okay, if you drive a Beamer, right, Mercedes people are going,
What about 'em?
Here we go.
You know, and then if you drive a Beamer, Benz Beamer people are gonna be like, oh, you should have got a Beamer. Like,
You should have.
I don't care if you're a Ferrari, if you're an Italian guy, you like your Lambo, you like trucks, or you like, German, whatever. Like, everybody can appreciate a well-maintained and restored classic car, and you can fix anything on them with a Craftsman socket set.
You can do the same thing with the BMW.
Except you had to go buy your like 12-sided spark plug bullshit.
Yeah.
Hashtag not included in a Craftsman socket set.
Guess what? That was Pep Boys or
Specialty
whatever
part.
tool that I had to buy. It's a thin-walled spark plug socket. You could have used a 12-point socket, except I didn't have a thin-walled 12-point socket, so therefore I had to get.
Dude, a buddy of mine's dad just bought a brand new 2019 BMW M2. It has 300 miles on it. Every light on the dash for a check engine light showed up yesterday.
That's because he's driving like an idiot. He's not braking it in properly. The braking procedure for that car is 1,200 miles. You can't go above 5,200 RPMs, and then with that, it has to be a continuously varying RPM range. You can't stay steady at the same RPM range for the first, I think, it's 500 miles. If he actually took the time and read the manual about that car, he would actually understand.
He did. He's been driving M series BMWs for like 30 years.
Then
Like,
there's something wrong with this car, because
Exactly.
that platform is an excellent platform. It's based off of the N54, which started in 2006 and then developed into the N55 and S55. It's an excellent platform.
Just
Systemic, we
disclaimer,
got 'em
folks.
talking.
We yeah, we did. Disclaimer: Paul is a Beamer person. If you can't tell by.
I would say historian might be a better term.
I think he's just. He doesn't use his signals and everything. He
Yeah. What are those? I took them off, actually. I don't even have that post anymore.
Liquor fluid's not part of the manual, so yeah, he's fucking removed them. Traffic, fuck traffic.
Yeah,
the road's built for me.
Yeah, use the shoulders.
Oh God, that's every motorcycle driver in Florida is. Oh, I'll just drive down the shoulder.
I would too. Why would you want to cook in the sun? It's terrible.
We don't have
motorcycle.
Yeah, I used to.
Yeah.
Like, we don't have helmet laws down here. We call them donor cyclists.
That's really dumb.
Oh,
dude,
dude,
man.
I would say maybe 1 out of every 5 motorcyclists I see has a helmet on.
Yeah, so everyone else is a squid.
And my favorite is the people with like the watch for motorcycles bumper stickers all over their car who drive like complete idiots.
Oh, how about the
probably because they're driving like they want to be on a motorcycle.
There's a video of this young guy is GoProing or vlogging, and his mom is saying goodbye to him, and she's like, oh, be careful, be safe, and they go to make a right turn at some light, and then the mom rear ends the guy on the motorcycle.
Oh yeah, I've seen that. That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah,
I was at a track on my Hayabusa and my chain just went to shit and I wrecked and shattered my left femur. I don't get on bikes anymore.
That's horrible.
Yeah. I was lucky though, because if the chain snapped down into the pavement instead of up, and if it snapped up, I'd have lost my leg.
So do you fit the standard Hayabusa stereotype?
What do you mean? I've been out of bikes for 12 years.
So there's some meme that I saw floating around with the standard Hayabusa person. One is like, then again, Hayabusas back then, they were normal. They were new, and normal people rode them. But now it's usually like Let's see if I can find it. I'll have to forward it, but it's like basically really large, fat dudes that ride.
No. I'm 5'10", 200 pounds.
Okay, good. I didn't
Yeah.
think you were.
Systemic, you just went to your beer at Backstream, bro. Hello. All right. Anyway, now what we used to do, like, because I got the Hayabusa because the Gixxer 1000 was more expensive to insure.
That's ridiculous.
You know why, right?
Well, because more people, it's more common and more idiots mess around with them.
No.
Why?
One is a leader bike, meaning
Okay.
it's a sport bike. The other one is the Hayabusa is technically a grand touring bike because it's over the limit for sport bikes.
That's ridiculous.
It's 1200 cc.
I didn't know that. But what do they do now about the Panigale V4?
Dude, I have no idea. I've been out of the motorcycle game for so long, but I remember one of the things we used to do back then when the Hayabusa first came out was guys with like late 90s, early 2000s Gixxer 1000s. The frame was shaped in such a way that you could fit a Hayabusa engine in a Gixxer 1000. It was direct bolt-in, basically. So guys were putting 1200 cc engines in their Gixxers. I rode one once. I thought the Yamaha R1 was a very front happy bike that liked to get the front end off the ground whenever it wanted to. Nope, that bike it's tap the throttle. You're up.
Yeah, scorpions.
Yeah, it's nutty. If I had to get a bike again though, I'd get a 600 because they rev to like 15,000 RPM and they sound amazing.
I was thinking about getting one. I was wanting to go with the naked bike. I was looking into the Triumphs and then the KTMs and then even the Yamahas. But with the Yamaha, even though it's less money for some reason, it is the insurance is like triple the.
You know, I don't know. I don't know. After laying a bike down and waking up in the hospital with fucking titanium in your thigh, I was just like, I think I'm done with bikes. Like I had my fun. I was always a smart rider. Like when I bought my bike, I remember I was talking to the dealer and because they had like a pro shop there, you can get your helmet and all that good shit. And you know, he's like, "You have an awry shaped head." What do you mean? You know, what do you mean? Right? Because I rode dirt bikes as a kid. That was the extent. You know, I was like, I decided, you know, I'm making some good money now. I want a bike. And he goes, well, "This is an awry. Try it on." I was like, "Damn, this actually feels really good. It feels a lot better than the whatever helmet I had tried on prior." I was like, "How much this run?" He's like, "It's $600."
600, yeah.
And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Do you have a $600 brain or do you have that $150 brain?" I'm like,
"Yeah,
I'll get the awry." But I was smart though. I bought full exoskeleton, so I had like the jacket with like the metal across the back, so when you slide, you don't like it doesn't wear through. Like and it had like the like super reinforced like Kevlar elbows and knees. Shit, I had boots and like I never ever got on my bike unless I was in full gear. Like
yeah."
I
I've
just
fallen before. Well, not on the bike, but on quads, and then I always wear the boots and then the full gear. I don't have a Ryag. For some reason, the name slips me right now, but it's the direct competitor of them. And my helmet was right at that price range.
Isn't it Shoei?
Yeah, it's Shoei. There we go. Thank
Showy,
you.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a Shoei, or I still have it actually. And then I have the the jacket with the armor in it, not the back plate, but it has the padding, but not the actual exoskeleton back plate. And then the city boots, and then a pair of pants.
Yeah, that saved me, dude. Because like my only issue was I had a major concussion and I broke my left femur. But like I watched the video from the track like a couple weeks later, and I probably slid like 250, 300 feet. It was not fun, and I landed head first into the fucking tires. Lucky I didn't break my neck.
Yeah.
I'll be right back at a phone call.
Okay. Yeah, the new bikes are stupid fast, and then they have all the traction control, but still, it doesn't help on gravel.
No, it doesn't.
Oil.
And like like it was great. Like it was great for what I call mental high, because like it's it's weird because like you get on a bike, you're doing 120, you can't really think about anything else. It's good for clearing your head.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I remember I was in Chevy Chase, Maryland. I don't know where you're located. We're not gonna
Are
say
we
on
still
stream.
live?
Yeah. And so I was in Chevy Chase, Maryland. Like where, like, I don't know if you're familiar with the area, but there's like a
Yeah.
it's a somewhat swanky part of town. There's like a Neiman Marcus and shit over there.
I'm south of Tyson's.
Okay.
Excuse me, west of Tyson's.
All right. And so I'm doing some shopping over there, and there's this kid on a brand new Aprilia.
Yeah, those
bikes.
RSV4s are nice.
Yeah, you know bikes.
Yeah,
And
those are so nice.
Yeah, Aprilias are not cheap. And he's doing an endo coming up to a stoplight and misjudged it and went through the back window of a like Dodge minivan, something.
Yeah.
Broke his neck, paralyzed on site.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know. That comes down to like play stupid games, win stupid prizes, though, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Human Delta, dude. Exactly. Like my biggest fear riding a motorcycle was never my own skill or fear of my own motorcycle.
It was people.
It's always the unpredictability of the cars around you, dude, because, like whether you're going with the flow of traffic, you're doing like I laid my bike down going 30 and I laid my bike down going nearly 200.
I was always afraid of Tahoes and cell phones.
Yeah. I would rather lay a bike down again doing 200 than 30 because 30 you get pinned under the bike. At least when you're going fast, like you get thrown and you can slide versus, you can get, you have no control where you slide, but you're.
I'd much rather do like 50 than 200.
Hey, I'm back.
All right. But yeah, it's like, I don't know. Like my biggest fear on motorcycles was always other people. Like I never tricked on public roads unless there was nobody else on the road. Like literally nobody else. And at that point, like you're asking yourself, like, how far am I away from like a fucking hospital if I fuck up?
Yeah.
Like for me, like, yeah, okay, I can bring the front wheel up if I want. I'm gonna practice doing it so I'm comfortable with it if it happens. But it's not gonna be my primary mode of transportation. But like when you're doing 130, 140 mile an hour on a bike, a pebble can end you.
Just the cracks in the road if it grabs it.
Oh yeah. Well, that and just a mechanical failure, dude. My bike was in perfect condition.
Yeah.
I was a really good rider. The chain decided it just did not want to keep on going. And I see people down here in Florida, like my license was suspended, God, almost a decade ago now. And like living down here in Florida, like I need to get my license back, dude. But I am not excited to do it because people down here in Florida, it's like driving in Orlando, Florida is like playing Mario Kart in real life. Like short of somebody throwing a blue shell after you, it is like people do whatever the hell they want, dude. People in SUVs drive over the grass median to do a U-turn just wherever the hell they decide to. People decide that like, oh, I missed my exit. Let me just swerve across 3 lanes of traffic. Like it's nutty. It's like everybody's in business for themselves.
Human agrees with you there.
Human Delta, I'm in Orlando. Which is a big enough area where it's not really very informative, but I'm in Orlando. We have some fellow Florida people. Shit.
Florida man.
Dude, Florida man's
Florida
crazy.
man.
I see Florida man every day. You see the best of Florida man and the worst, and it's always something special down here. It's like living on another planet sometimes.
Oh, I imagine. I mean, I've only driven through it a couple times, like they're kissing me and shit. Yeah, was not a fan. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, one, like this time of year, the humidity is way over 100%, and the temperature, you're like, oh, it's cool out today. It's only 80. Like, no lie, it was 81 degrees today, and I was like, oh, nice. All right.
I feel like this East Coast and humidity is just the devil. So
Well, see, Florida misdirected me when we moved down here because it was 101 in Virginia when we moved down here, the day we moved down here. And the next day it was only like 89 in Florida. I was like, oh, this is a bet. This is amazing. Until you walk outside and you're like, I need way more baby powder everywhere. Like,
that's literally Paul's life when we're at work.
Yes.
Whenever we walk in here outside, it's I need to powder myself.
yeah, it's like I need to invest in cornstarch. Like, because like, I hate that. Someone's like, oh, it's a dry heat. But like, seriously, Florida is just, the air is soup. It's just
And then
it's
what-
atrocious.
I think 4th of July I was grilling and Paul was with me, and
Oh yeah.
I turned around. I had like this nice little patch of swamp ass on like my your crotch area, a cheek zone, and
He's
you know,
like,
just like, hey man, go change your pants. I'm like, what happened? She's like, dude, melting. Like, all right, well, I appreciate the heads up, and the went for it, didn't she? She's like, yeah.
Jesus Christ. And like one of the primary Botox treatments in Florida is actually Botox in the armpits because it stops your armpits from sweating.
Did not know that.
I
I'll have to
mean-
get that in my entire body.
Like, right? I'm like, is there a guy that Botox his taints?
Yeah.
That's to be painful.
Dude, so I'll take a quick, injection. I do 3 of those a week. I'm not worried about that. All I care about is the lack of swamp ass. My buddy's got a car that like he can start his car from his phone. It's amazing because every time he gets his car, he's got cooled seats and like heated and cooled. And he's got a
For my car, it's stick, and that's the only thing that I think of in the future is so I can start it up early so it's cold.
Yeah, well, I mean,
If it's automatic.
no. You can get remote start for manual transmission now.
What manufacturer offers that
How
from the
does that
factory?
work?
Viper offers it.
Okay, I'm not gonna buy a Viper though.
Direct Electronics offers one, and so does
From the factory.
Avatel.
I don't know what those companies are that you're talking about.
They're the
They're
three.
not a-
They're the 3 top alarm and remote start manufacturers in the market.
But that's not the car manufacturer.
So, do you have some
That,
sort of
that'll avoid the warranty, will
concourse
it not?
level?
He's a Beamer guy. It has to be Beamer. It's not pure.
Oh,
And
Lord.
no, but let's be real. It could possibly void the warranty. And then what if there's an issue with in 50,000 miles with my car? And then it gets voided because I wanted to get that pre-start installed for my manual car because my butt was too hot.
Okay. Well,
I mean, I would do it afterwards.
Your
after
car
the
out of
50,000.
warranty anyway.
Hey, yeah, my current car is, yeah.
all right.
There
then
you
what are
go,
worried
yeah.
about?
Stop
don't know.
complaining.
If you buy a new car, it's gonna have those features anyway.
Look, guys, I gotta do that. I might avoid the warranty I don't have. I don't know if I want to do that.
Well, we were talking about it in the
Eh.
car.
True, yeah, you're right.
Yeah, but like, oh my, like having cooled, and his steering wheel is cooled.
That's different. I've never had that. Never tried that.
Dude, he's got a Hyundai Genesis G90. It's like it's teched out of the wazoo, dude. Like it has wireless charging in the center console. You just put your phone in the center console and it wireless charges.
Yeah, that's always pretty cool.
The first car I've ever had that has heated mirrors in the out. That's me. It was mind blowing.
Your
Yeah.
car has that?
Yeah, so the side mirrors are heated.
I didn't know that.
Florida man ain't worried about that.
It's
Yeah.
true.
Speaking of Florida and air conditioning, did you know in the state of Florida, if you rent a property, the landlord is not legally required to have air conditioning, but they're legally required to have heat. In the state of Florida, where I've never used heat. I've been here 7 years.
I chalk it up to Florida man.
That is a Florida man situation. Gotta make sure you're nice and hot. Gotta keep the status quo.
I mean, if you make it hot enough inside your domicile and you walk outside, anything feels cold after that, right?
There you go.
Oh, dude.
Lower demand logic for you.
It's like in Afghanistan where you'll see it's like 120 degrees outside and people are drinking hot coffee. How do you do that? Oh, like
hot tea.
I need this.
Yeah, like they're drinking some hot ass tea, and I'm like, and like they're
eating ice cubes.
Yeah, like I'm sitting on one. Like their mindset is like, well, if I drink hot, the outside will feel colder. I'm like, no, please.
Getting desperate here. Like I understand, like back in the NFL, the guys had flasks. They would take a quick hit, and then like that would lower your core temperature, so you felt warmer in the. That's just, it's just different. I mean, I see the logic, but
yeah. Wait, they drink alcohol to lower their core temperature?
Yeah, it makes you feel warm. That's why you feel a little hotter when you drink.
Bullshit! I'd be dying of hypothermia every evening, starting at 7 p.m.
You're just special. I don't know. I mean, they can't do it anymore, obviously, but back in the day, the 90s, I guess.
Oh, dude, I remember back in baseball, like you'd see a pitcher with a huge wad of chew in his lip. They made him stop doing that.
He smacked with the ball, you swallow it and choke on it.
Oh god! Oh,
yeah.
Man. Oh.
Your last conscious taste was spit or dip spit.
Oh.
From the sauce.
Oh god! Oh. I tried dip once. Nope.
Never had it. Don't plan on trying it.
No, I didn't either. But I was up in Pennsylvania for that thing with my mom years ago, and there was no nicotine. I don't smoke cigarettes at all. Never tried one in my life. But I vape and have hookah, and I was having a real nick fit. And my brother was like, "Yo, just try some dip." I'm like, oh, fine. And I tried it. And I was like, oh, this is not too bad. Immediately get like nick sick and
I can see him saying. Hey, thanks for following, man. Appreciate that.
Ooh.
Rock.
Ooh. Dip.
I mean, I got.
Are you enjoying the talking of dip spit
and I got super
nicotine sickness?
Wait, supposed to be relieving.
Where were you yet, cocoa leaf?
Oh, South America. What the fuck?
What's Paul doing in Colombia?
Coca-Cola. You got chicle? ¿Tú quieres chicle? Chicle? Take the fucking chicle. I didn't hear any of it. You missed out.
Former gov?
Paul?
I guess. How would I answer that? Current.
We were talking about
Oh, are you current?
He was talking about smoking, vaping, all that stuff, and then he said he needed nicotine, and he said he tried dipping, and it didn't go off for him. So that was he joined after that. I was like, oh, he likes dipping, I guess. I'm just kidding. I don't like doing it, but I'm not a fan.
Taking trips to Colombia, huh? Okay.
It wasn't for work though. That'd be cool.
I think he had some valuable experiences there.
Yeah, I would say so.
I always wanted to try ayahuasca too, but fuck that.
The hell was that?
What?
Ayahuasca?
Ayahuasca.
Is that some like town in the middle of nowhere in Alaska?
No. It's like
I sounds like it.
It's supposed to be this like mind-altering psychedelic experience where like it's these two compounds, right? That your body breaks down both compounds that they're independent, but when they're mixed in a tea, like you have this like profound like 20-minute psychedelic like life-changing experience, and I always thought it would be pretty cool to try.
All right, I've googled this. First hit on typing ayahuasca, the way it sounds, I got it right. Fantastic of me. First hit: Temple of the Way of Light, the traditional use of ayahuasca. What is ayahuasca, you ask? Ayahuasca, also spelled some way that does not sound like ayahuasca, is a plant native to the Amazon that has been used for centuries, possibly thousands of years as medicine by indigenous ayahuasca shamans across the upper Amazon throughout regions of Peru, Colombia, Ecuador, and Brazil. Various other names are known for this sacred plant, including Kwapi, Natima, Mihi, Yage, and many others. I feel enlightened now. You're saying you want to go be a hippie in the Amazon.
Hey, if it's a life-altering psychedelic experience that's going to change my outlook on life and make me less of a cynical pessimistic, then sure, I'll go for it. Why
I call
not?
bullshit. So if you do this, would you compare its effects of the life-altering bullshit by doing like a walkabout in the outback? Like, how far are we going here?
No.
Oh no, yeah, man. I want you. You take the drugs in the Amazon, then you better go experience the tarantulas and other bullshit in the Australian outback.
No. Everything in Australia wants to kill you. The heat, the wildlife. No, there's jellyfish so small you can't see it'll kill you off the shores of Australia. No.
Dude, what's up with the flesh-eating bullshit off the coast right now?
Off the coast of what? Where? Why?
Here.
I live on the coast. Don't give me info.
I'm gonna look it up real quick.
Like in Florida, we have amoeba. Like we have tons of what's called retention ponds, right? Because we get so much rainfall. It's just a place, like, there's gutter works and stuff like that that just puts all the water in these retention ponds. And they're generally used for like sprinkler systems and shit. But it is a widely known fact. Do not swim in them because we have this, like, it's a brain eating amoeba that'll, like,
oh yeah, I've heard of that before.
Yeah, like it'll get in your ear, or like in your nose or in your mouth and find its way to your brain. And there's nothing they can do. There's absolutely nothing. Like, you get one, you're dead.
So
get the alligators, just chill.
I'm looking at a quick post from people. I googled the whatever virus thing, and so far there has been cases in Texas, Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, Virginia, Maryland, and DC.
So what's it, like MRSA?
It looks like it's some sort of bacteria that thrives in coastal waters that stay around or above 55 degrees Fahrenheit year round.
So Florida.
Yeah, essentially more southern than north, obviously. In the says 20 so far, 9 people or their families have spoken out about contracting a flesh-eating bacteria in all cases after a day out of the water in places like Florida, Texas, and Maryland. They require significant hospital stay. 3 of these people, they've died.
Jesus. That's nutty, dude, because like I live in the tourism capital of the United States. Like we have more theme parks per square foot than anybody else. Like there's an entire retirement community owned by Disney here. Like I cannot imagine our beaches right now. Like I don't go to the beach. I feel disgusting when I'm in the ocean. I don't do it. Ooh. I've seen people with like MRSA, like that flesh-eating bacteria virus thing. Like, no, that is. If I got that on my leg, I'd be like, just take the leg. They got really cool prosthetics now. I'm good. Just take it off.
Yeah, it's definitely creepy, I guess, just knowing that. Well, I saw like your skin like pusses and bubbles up, and then it's like a red blotch that grows as it's eating. Treat that area before it gets too far, like angry, and you gotta cut it off. So pretty gruesome stuff.
Well, that and skin grafts are no treat either. They basically use like a cheese grater to pull skin off your ass and put it on wherever it needs to go.
But skin grafts are controlled and usually volunteer, I feel like, whereas this flesh eating thing just wants to kill you.
That's what I mean. Like it sounds like you would need a skin graft. Like they just cut away the dead flesh and like skin graft over it.
I mean, I think technology has advanced so far though. Like skin grafts, I think the best comparison I've heard recently is like a really bad sunburn.
I mean, I have a friend who has a foreskin skin graft on his knee.
Nice.
Yeah.
Wait, no.
Yeah.
Foreskin skin graft to his knee.
Yeah. Yep. He was in a motorcycle accident and lost most of the skin on his knee. And they were like, "We can do."
Is it from him or another animal?
Why couldn't they just?
It wasn't from him. I know that much, but
one can. Yeah. Okay. Sorry. I'm still processing the fact you said foreskin skin graft to knee in the same sentence.
Yeah. So we always joke with him like, dude, if you get excited, can you still walk? Can you bend your knee? Yeah, dude, he definitely has part of a dude's peen on his knee.
Whose man's pain is this?
If you rub it a little bit, does your leg get bigger? Like,
what color is it?
It helps his squat max. You got to rub it a little bit.
Like, can you wear shorts and it still not be in decent exposure? It's technically pea meat.
Oh, it's like saggy scrotum looking shit on his knee, and it grows weird pubes. It's not the same color or some shit. Yeah, my leg is probably black, but this guy gave me a skin graph of his scrotum to my knee, and now he has red pubes apparently. So yeah, I have red pubes on my knee now. One knee though. Who would have thought? Imagine like going to like a speed date thing.
Wait. Systemic, I have questions, right?
Okay, I have answers. Hopefully.
Okay. I'm circumcised. Obviously,
I'm not answering this question anymore. I'm done.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not asking that question. But obviously, if you, given where the foreskin is removed from, why would you have pubes there?
Oh, I said scrotum. Like went down the scrotum rabbit hole. I didn't.
That'd be really weird. Even I don't have that.
Yeah.
I don't have. Well, I mean, if Paul doesn't have it, then genetically humans can't have hair there because Paul's everywhere else. So. If Paul doesn't have hair there, you can't have hair there. Human, you cannot.
Biologically impossible.
God has imprinted upon Paul what we cannot have.
So Paul's basically permanently wearing a sweater.
Yes, I have.
That's actually pretty accurate. When it comes to working shorts and a t-shirt still.
There are times where I still do wear the polos in the wintertime when it's 15 degrees out.
Just don't go in the woods during bear season.
Yeah.
Shit.
Or in DC during bear week. The heads up.
Right back.
Paul, how old are you?
Same age as him.
Oh, you guys are so young. Jesus.
Yep.
I'm an old head, dude.
Yeah, you are.
That's been the case lately, though. Is like for like probably like the last 7 years since I moved down to Florida. Like all my friends, I'm like 11 years older than.
That's weird.
Well, I mean,
it's not weird. I guess I'm just curious why.
Because I met most of my friends at a local hookah bar that's 10 minutes away from a college campus.
Oh, that makes sense then.
And I'm the kind of person I generally keep a pretty small circle.
Yeah.
So
I feel like we all do.
Yeah, and so for me it was like, okay, I have my core group of friends, everybody else is an acquaintance, I'm good.
Yeah, same.
But I wouldn't say it sucks, but it can be difficult at times because like I'm the go-to for like literally all of my friends' life advice.
Oh, that does suck.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it can weigh heavy at times because you like, when you have the occasional friend like, hey man, you've been married for a while, what's it like? Can you give me any solid advice? How do you guys make it work so well? That's cool, right? Like, no problem there. But like daily, it's like, dude, how do I get a credit card? What? Apply. Pay your bills on time. Like, like going with your friends to buy their cars, stuff like that. Like it can get a little heavy sometimes.
I'm back, but I missed
YouTube for a reason.
Oh, we're talking like all of my friends. Like, because I asked Paul how old he was, and he says he's about your age, and I was like, God damn, I feel old. Because like literally all my friends, since I moved down to Florida, because I met all my friends at like a hookah bar that was real close to a college campus. Like all my friends are like 10, 11 years younger than me, and so we were talking about like, like it's kind of cool because you're always around young people, energy, kind of pick up on that. But at the same time, like I'm the go-to for life advice for my entire small circle of friends.
I mean,
like it can weigh heavy sometimes because they're, I got to go with them to buy their cars or lease their cars or, hey, come with me while I apartment search because I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like
yeah, I can ask you for some shit.
Yeah, but like the amount of times you've asked me for something versus like the daily, like it's almost like it's like having toddlers. Like, how do I wipe my ass again? Like it gets pretty annoying.
Oh, I get that. I mean, I don't think any of mine's on the comparison scale of car shopping or house shopping, but
yeah,
I can always bounce crap off you usually.
Yeah,
so it's nice being a young person, having someone who has some wisdom, some life experience.
Yeah, well, it's like I was telling Paul, like my wife and I have a really good marriage. Like we are, like it's actually caused problems with my brother because like he'll straight up tell his wife like Sarah and James don't have these issues. Like, well, James's wife does, James's wife doesn't do this. Like, it can get bad. And like, because people like my wife and I look up to her parents because my parents, A, they're both dead, and B, they had a shitty marriage. But like her parents have a beautiful marriage, and my wife and I use that as an example. And a lot of people use us as an example. So that's a little stressful sometimes. But like, the occasional like, hey, relationship advice, but like, oh man, like the day to day, like I day to day manage like the lives of like 3 of my closest friends, and it is really freaking stressful.
Yeah, I think I remember the old Discord. Yeah, you mentioned that before.
And it's like the worst part is like when they don't take advice. Like I know I mentioned like I wanted to talk about this a little bit, like when we were talking about topics, but like I have a good buddy of mine. He's 25. Like he cannot grow facial hair, and he like he has all the signs of like low testosterone. And about a year and a half ago, I went on testosterone replacement therapy, and I'm like, dude, you need to check this out. Like, you need to try this. It changed my life. You should check it out. And he's like, oh no, man, that ain't me. That ain't me. Or at least go get your blood work done. So he goes and gets his blood work done, and he's got the testosterone level of like an 85-year-old guy, which is not good. Once you hit like 20, like it's a every you're constantly on a downward slope. He just will not go on it, but he's like constantly having all these issues in relation to it. And I'm like, he's just not taking my advice. And I'm just, dude, just try it. But unfortunately, it's not really something you can like try and then like, oh, I don't like this. Like, once you're on it, your body actually shuts down any production it has. And so you're kind of on it for life. But I don't know. It's like I said, it's stressful at times when you're the oldest part of your group. And so everybody's sort of looking at you like the village elder.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine you walking up to someone and saying, or not someone, but any guy and saying, "Oh, you should try this," or to whatever therapy, testosterone stuff. The word testosterone and whatever other word accompanies that probably is a bit threatening.
Well, I mean, it's not really threatening in the sense that like it's really come to the forefront recently. Like
maybe to you, because I think you've done it, or you know more about it and you understand it. But like,
yeah,
I remember when you first told me about that stuff, testosterone stuff, and I was like,
well, I mean, yeah, but like, take for example, like in a recent study that was done, and I have it bookmarked somewhere, but like your average 25-year-old male now has so we use nanograms per deciliter, right? So how many nanograms of testosterone are available for every deciliter of blood? I didn't make up the scale, don't ask me. So your average 25-year-old male now is 300 points lower than your average 25-year-old male in 19. And that's mostly attributed to like diet. Soy is estrogenic in nature. So if you eat a lot of soy, then that's where you are. The proliferation of plant-based diets, the fact that like most of the food we eat is hyper processed and stuff, and it all has effects on your endocrine system. So, I mean, I personally, like, I had some trauma that caused my boys to shut down. And I didn't realize it until I started having heart problems. I mean, I think I told you I had a heart attack at 35.
yeah, I remember you said that.
Yeah. And the crazy thing is, like, my doctor, like, my family doctor, like, does my blood work. And she's like, oh, your testosterone is completely normal. I look at it and I'm like, yeah, it's normal for a 37, like a 75-year-old. I'm 35. Like, what are you talking about? Well, it's within range. So I went to a clinic, like a men's health clinic, and they were like, yeah, you're rock bottom, dude. Like, we need to fix this. Within like 3 weeks, I felt like $1 million. I felt like I was 18 again. And like, it's not expensive. It's not like there's no downsides to it other than the fact like once you're on it, you're on it.
Right. I wonder if there's like a lifestyle thing that's leading to faster like degradation or whatever the word is.
Well,
Like back in the day, like I feel like guys had to do more lifting and like manual man stuff, and now today life's a little too convenient or something. Maybe I don't know. It's just random.
Well, that does play a role in it, right? Because like again, it comes down to our food's hella processed, and we have there's definitely pest. Oh, my fire alarm's going off, which means my wife's cooking.
Oh,
It's fine, but it's food, it's lifestyle, it's there's a number of contributing factors. But at the end of the day, it comes down to like you kind of have a choice to make. Like if you're diagnosed with low testosterone, you can sort of wither away, which is what will happen. Was what was happening to me. I was having heart problems. I was having cognitive problems. No gains in the gym. The glorious house of gains was not nice to me for like 3 years. And I kind of wonder like, why am I not going anywhere? What's going on here? And once I got on testosterone, like within 6 months, I dropped like 30 pounds. Like my muscle mass was up, my fat was down. I was sleeping like a baby. It was just like literally everything turned around. Like a lot of my anxiety went away. I think it's because I was feeling a lot more confident. I don't know, but I don't know, man. I pay like I think at the end of the year it might cost me like $500 a year, and it's
it doesn't seem too.
No, not at all. Oh wow. Hold on, I'll be right back. I hate to leave you with dead.
No, I
air,
mean,
but,
you're
like
good.
I smell something burn.
I can take care of that, man.
Everything all right, baby?
Oh man, how is everyone doing while we take this quick break? Everyone's week this week been good?
Somehow my wife setting off the smoke alarm turned into you were supposed to clean the kitchen today. I don't know how I got drug into that, but I'm gonna close my office door and lay low.
I can relate.
Right? Like that's the funny thing about marriage and like to do a complete to do a complete topic swap just because it came up, but like this is why I tell all my friends, like, if you're gonna get married, live with the person first. Like, you owe it to each other.
You have to. Yeah, it's the absolute requirement.
Yeah, because like stuff that you think is like I'm on my second marriage. Like, I had a failed marriage. And so like, I've got some experience on both ends of the spectrum and having a bad marriage and a good marriage. But like things that you think are cute about somebody when you live together can change entirely.
It's sort of a lesson I learned in college. Actually, it was like I was friends with certain people, but then living with them in the barracks changed the whole outlook. And then yeah, like you're saying, it could be cute when you visit someone, but there's things that they could do in the household that just drive you nuts.
Yeah, I mean exactly. It's like whenever anybody is like, "How do you and Sarah have such a good marriage?" We leave each other the hell alone more than you would think. Like we have a happy marriage with me sitting in my office playing video games or doing a podcast like this with her in the living room watching some Netflix or reading a good book. And it works. And I'll come out, when we get done here, I'll go out and I'll spend some time with her and, catch up with her day because I was already involved in this when she got home. And
yeah, same here.
And there's a level of understanding that like she knew I was doing a podcast. Right? And hey, and she's like, okay, cool. She came and gave me a kiss and walked out. And but like like you have to live experience what it's like living with somebody because it completely changes anything. I don't care if you're married or you're just best friends who are looking for a roommate. Like you might not be able to stand the ground somebody walks on after living with them for 6 months. I don't care how long you've been friends.
That one. In balance too, you kind of find what pushes their buttons, what they want to do with their time, kind of deal. So like you said here, like she's doing whatever, and you give her heads up, spend time with her. Same thing here. Like I went away last to help her come in. Said, hey, what's up? Said, hey, I'm gonna finish this up in an hour, and after this, I'm just gonna sit down and watch a movie with her, hang out. Yeah. Balance. It's all about balance.
Yeah, exactly. It's a balance, dude. Because like, it's one thing if you and your best friend get together, every Friday night, have a couple beers, play some pool, and shoot the shit throughout the week. But like, when you're living on top of each other, like, that can put a stress on it that some relationships and friendships can't handle. And marriage is the same way. Like, you got to feel out everything, dude. It's like, I don't judge anybody for their decisions in their relationships, but like, I also think waiting till marriage to have sex is, because I've known 3 couples who, for various reasons, some religious, some not religious, waited until marriage to have sex, and every single one of them had infidelity issues in their marriage because they wanted to know what other people were like.
Yeah, I don't agree with that whole sort of like guideline or rule either.
Yeah, it's like, no, like I don't. I generally, refer to them like, I like my women certified pre-owned, very low mileage, very good maintenance records. I don't want to, a cab. I don't want to buy somebody, a car that's been used as a cab, and I don't want something that's brand new. I got to work out the quirks.
One thing I think is funny too, since obviously you're married and I'm engaged, but like talking with Paul and other coworkers, and like the younger dudes who are single and like still in the hunt down some cute girls and shit, like talking to them and like walking down the street and like watching them like keep on all the people they want to, like, you're interested in, not hear him talk, and they look at me and you're like, you don't care, dude. I'm like, no. Example the other day, I was like, oh yeah, like, she looks awesome. She has like, nice boobs, yada yada. I'm like, I don't care. Oh, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I live with the girl.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm blessed in the sense that, like, I've got an entire Discord server with my best friend Justin where we just swap amazing pictures of beautiful women in various levels of undress.
Yeah, I remember from the old Discord.
Yeah, my wife does not care. She's like, oh, those are nice, or oh, those are horrible. Like, she just shares an opinion and keeps on moving. But like, what blows my mind is which is funny because I know how you met your fiance, is like the way dating works now.
It's a different game.
It's
a game.
Yeah, like I met my wife through a friend, like, really organically. And I don't judge how you meet people. You meet people every which way. But like, I have my buddy, like, he's juggling like 8 Tinder girls right now. I call them Tinderellas.
That's a mess, dude.
Yeah, and I'm like, dude, what do you do? Like, we'll be playing a video game and like, there'll be like in between rounds. And I'm like, dude, are you ready? And he's like, oh man, I'm swiping right. And I'm like, dude, so basically what you're doing is you're picking potential dates off a menu. Like, and I guess because you're in your mid 20s. I'm going into my officially late 30s. Like, so there's obviously somewhat of a small generational gap there, but like, if I woke up tomorrow not married and I had never met my wife, I wouldn't know how to operate. Because like, I come from a timeline where if you saw a beautiful woman and you thought she was interesting, you go up and talk to her. I don't understand the whole, like, because I'm trying to coach them through, and it's quite successful because these girls have no idea what to do with a guy who calls.
You cut out the guy do what?
They have no idea what to do with like a guy who calls.
Oh, panic. Just my generation or whatever, phone calls don't exist.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, you called me. And they're like, they're on their phone with their girls, like, girl, he actually called me. Because I'm like, dude, if you like her, call her. And and I'm telling them, like, if you find her interesting, be like, hey, look, can we have a real talk? I think you're super interesting. Obviously, you're super beautiful, and I want to see where this goes. And it's apparently blowing these 20-something-year-old girls' minds that a guy can do that. And I think that's silly because, like, when I told my wife straight up when we met, like, we've been married for 8 years. I said, like, hey, I'm going to be honest with you, like, I really like you, and I want to see where this goes, and I want to let you know that I'm not seeing anybody else right now. And she was like, I haven't seen anybody in years, so hi.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, cool, this works. But like, otherwise, like, he's playing these cat and mouse games with these girls. Like, do I seem interested or don't I? I'm like, well, if you're interested, tell them.
Well, and that's where the game comes in too. It's like, well, if I don't want to come off too strong, or I don't, I gotta be the asshole guy. They always win and shit like that. Like, I think it's funny, like, once you like get in a committed relationship and like you that this is the person you're gonna be with, other dudes, younger or whatever coming to you like, hey man, like what did you do, or like how'd this happen, or like, hey, I'm talking to this girl, what should I do next? And I'm like, it's just hilarious now because you kind of sit back and go, the game's played like this and I don't know why, and it's kind of dumb. Like even when I was like, before I like started dating Kayla, and like just I look at the dating game whatnot nowadays and the generation, how it works, and it just kind of silly. It's like, okay, based on your appearance, you have a X amount of percentage chance to get picked, and if you do get picked, you have like one shot to make some goofy pickup line or a team, and then if they you advance to the next level, and if not,
well, that and the fact that these dating apps have algorithms too.
oh yeah,
So it's like you're also fighting an algorithm, and I'm like, and so I'll take my buddy Justin for example. We'll go out to a bar, and so I'll tell him, I have no idea, honey, and he'll say, be like, man, that girl's fine as hell. I'd be like, go talk to her. Well, what do I say? Anything.
yeah, something.
Yeah, and literally anything. You've got a girl sitting at the bar alone, drinking a beer, watching just anything that's on the televisions right now. She looks bored out of her mind. She's either waiting for somebody, at which point she goes, I'm actually waiting for a date. And you go, I hope you have a great time. He's a lucky guy. And keep it moving. No harm, no foul. You gave her a great compliment. You put your shot in.
You just bookmarked yourself in case that shit goes south.
Yeah. And you know what? If that guy fucking no-shows, and if in a half hour he's not there, you walk up and you go, that guy's an idiot. Come sit with me. And she's going to go, wow, this guy's got some confidence. Okay. And then, like otherwise, or she's like, actually, like whatever. This girl actually told him one time, like, my dog died. I'm just here to have a drink. And he's like,
I mean,
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, but it's not like a rejection thing. It's just like a valid reason. Like, okay, gotcha, my bad. Like, whatever. And you go on.
Yeah. But when I was in my mid-20s, like dating was a numbers game. The more girls you talk to, the more chances you get to know somebody. Whether you want to get to know them in the sheets or get to know them as a person is entirely up to you. Now it just seems like swipe, 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 swipe. Like you get a blurb and a headshot, and like in these headshots, like he'll send me pictures of these girls, and I'm like, these are so clearly like face tuned or like whatever, like
yeah.
And I'm like, A, that girl's like 25 pounds heavier, or like A, that girl is
the angles. Oh my god, the angles.
The angles. And I'm just like,
I remember watching my dad struggle with like Tinder and shit like that, and the angles, and he's like, these girls look like this on the pictures and shit like that, and I know they're a couple of years off or a couple months off or some shit, like from the picture date to current date, but he'd be like, I don't fucking understand how like they look like this from a picture from like 2 weeks ago, and I walk in there and she's fucking like massive, and I'm like, angles.
Like,
what's the angles? Lighting. Yeah, and lighting. I was like,
lighting. Yeah.
It's like, it's an illusion, Dad. You must focus.
Yeah. I mean, like I have no reason to ever introduce any infidelity into my marriage. But like, if I wanted to cheat, I don't even know how, because I don't know how women operate now. Like, I just don't. I'm so disconnected from that. And like, when I see what it takes nowadays, I'm just like, this is stupid. And like, women apparently think it's really fucking weird if you just approach them in public. And not like a creepy way, like, can I smell your shoes?
Can I have some of your hair?
Yeah. It's just like, yeah, it's like we live in a weird society where like if you smile at somebody and wave on the sidewalk, you're like some sort of social pariah.
Yeah, they call 911 and say I have a stalker.
Yeah. But they're on the same app where somebody just swipes left or right to validate their beauty and existence. It's just so foreign to me, because like that, like, and it's weird because I tell my friends, I'm like, if you see a girl in public, just go talk to her. Like, I was a bartender. I've seen some of the best and worst pickup lines in my life, and the success rate for just going up and talking to somebody is guaranteed to be higher than Tinder or any of these dating sites. It's gotta be.
I don't know nowadays. I mean, I think someone who would prefer that method talks to you in person at a location, I think to me would be like a better choice, because I think that's a sign of maturity instead of relying on an app to do it. I mean, actually, I don't know. I mean,
and honestly, I think
someone who values face-to-face conversation over, like,
absolutely,
yeah, that's key. I think absolutely. It's like getting your foot in the door, the introduction, like I don't know, like it's hard to.
Well, that and like it's like the throwing spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks, right? Because you can just sit there and swipe right all day and just like, okay, I'm gonna swipe right 500 times and somebody's gotta bite. Versus like actually having the social skills and the self-confidence go up to talk to somebody in public. God forbid she's actually with her friends. Like that's advanced level shit. But like,
yeah.
But I'm like, God, like, come on, like, how do you start that? Like, it's just, it just seems so foreign to me as somebody who's 37 years old that, to just, like, I mean, I understand Tinder and like, I get it, and I know a lot of people who have very successful relationships from it, but so I don't look down on it at all. It just seems very weird to me as somebody who's like 12 years out of that generation to like that's how you meet people.
Yeah, it's so strange.
Like I remember like one of my regulars at the bar I bartended at was this like she was a 9.98 out of 10 blonde, 5'10", phenomenal body, beautiful face, didn't wear a lot of makeup, was a PhD student, like literally like on paper amazing. And she was dating this asshole. And I'm, whatever. And so this guy who was like she was way out of his league, comes up to her at my bar. And he's like, hi, I'm Daniel or whatever. And she just looks at me and goes, I have a boyfriend. And he goes, I have a goldfish. She's like, what? He goes, I'm sorry. I thought we were talking about shit that didn't matter.
Mm-mm.
And she was like, okay.
Yeah, okay, I give this guy a chance.
Yeah. And so, and he's like, what are you drinking? And she's like, well, I was drinking rum and Coke. And he's like, well, what are you drinking now? She goes, well, I don't have a drink. And so the guy's like, 2 rum and Cokes. I'm like, all right, cool. You're going to drink what she's drinking. Good sign. They spent 3 hours canoodling in a corner. Next thing I know, she's dating him. Because he was able to make a personal connection right then and there, wade through the bullshit, and she realized this guy's got some confidence. I don't understand how you put that out in like a Tinder profile.
Yeah, sounds
all right.
A strange game.
Wait, what did Human Delta say? If you can talk to a complete stranger you don't even know, that's the kind of confidence you need in order to get the job you want. Human Delta, absolutely, dude.
Yeah, it's
absolutely.
valid.
Absolutely. I cannot come up with any counter argument to that at all. But honestly, I kind of blame it on like the sort of social media generation where everybody wants that dopamine hit of getting some likes, right? So it's like, I'm going to post this picture with and I'm going to face tune it and I'm going to Photoshop it. And, I'm going to make sure the angle, like go to a restaurant, go to any nice restaurant. What do people do before they eat? They don't say grace. They don't go, man, this looks really good. They get out their phone and take a picture. It's like, we live in a social media generation where people want that dopamine drip of likes and follows and all that stuff. And then, so I think that's kind of translated into how we date now, where it's like, yo, I got, I don't know how Tinder works, but I got 30 swipe rights today, man. I'm balling. Okay.
Maybe it might equate to that. I mean, I think that kills me too is like people will always doctor their shit up to like look like their best life or some shit. So like what you see on like these media sites might not always be what's actually happening behind. There's like a huge spike in like mental health awareness and people who like do streaming or YouTube or whatnot, and like how they drive themselves into the ground to make this awesome content that make people perceive that their life is fantastic or some shit. They're really successful. In reality, they're like on the verge of killing themselves.
Exactly.
It's really sad.
It's kind of like clickbait, right? You're like, where you're like, you get this fantastic title that you're like, that draws your attention in. And then you're like, oh, there's no substance to this article, right? And I kind of feel like that's what a lot of the social media generation is like, look how amazing my life is. But on the inside, these people I meet are hollow as hell. Like I went to Guardian Con, it's a Destiny thing. And like all these people who everybody looks up to, like in the Destiny community, because they're content creators and they're influencers, Like, you look at them in real life and they're these hollow shells of people. And I'm like, your entire existence is based on your view count on your YouTube and your Twitch. Like, it kind of, there's a wake up call, and it's kind of heartbreaking in a little bit. I'm like, God damn.
Yeah, it is strange.
I mean, it just seems so weird to me that, I don't know. I mean, like I said, like, I know people who have great relationships that were started on Tinder, but because I guess it's because of my age and because I've been in a relationship so long, it just seems completely foreign to me on how it works.
Yeah, it's a whole new ballgame. Like, I think I grew up in the era like we were talking about, and then as I grew up and time progressed, hard to explain, I guess.
I mean, it is. I think you like need some sort of degree in sociology to to get to the core of it. But it's definitely very interesting because, like, I don't know, because like, what's the next step after this? Like, what's the next Tinder? What's the next key way to get into the dating game? Like, what is the next Tinder?
The next iteration, like as time progresses.
Yeah, because
probably be like Facebook algorithms comparing what you like and what you search and shit in Google, and they compare your crap together. And if you have a match rating, there you go. You might like this person. Ask them on a date.
Well, I mean, because I like, you're aware that like China has like a social credit score, right?
Yep.
Okay. So like, I wonder how far we are away from like having a social media credit.
I'm sure it's out there somewhere.
And if we don't already have one, if we do, mine's probably 0. But I use Instagram purely to send my wife and I to send pictures back and forth of like really cool architecture and expensive jewelry that we eventually want to be able to afford. Like, I mean, it's not a bad thing. The worst social media user in the world.
Yeah, I think if Discord qualifies, that's all I really use. So
yeah, Reddit.
Reddit's also good.
Reddit is technically a social media platform. One which I actually am. It's the only one I'm good at. Ugh. Holy hell! Did we just hit the 3-hour mark?
We're approaching it.
Damn. When are you getting married? It's January, right?
Yep.
I'm watching your stream. I just saw your head like shoot to the right.
Oh, I was getting flagged, so I had to look. I mean, yeah, we are approaching 3 hours. This should probably be a good time to probably start wrapping up.
Yeah. Oh man, I had a good time on the podcast, man.
Yeah, it's fun just bullshitting and talking about stoof.
I hope I didn't talk too much because I, generally speaking, don't know when to turn my mouth.
Are you getting back into streaming anytime soon?
It's funny. As much as I really want to stream, like, I dumped a ton of money into a streaming setup, like absurd amounts of money. Like, I have 4K cameras, I have absurd PC. Like, I've got like my gamer tag is embroidered on the back of my gaming chair. Like, I've done everything. I'm talking to you on a $2,000 mic. And the two things that keep me from streaming are this. One is the social climate on Twitch right now. And my views in no way reflect the views of the streamer Twitch. Is that like, I've seen police officers who stream, like, they stream video games in the evening and they're, cop 9 to 5 or whatever. And like, the guy was in plain clothes, he had a gun on his hip. He got banned from Twitch for brandishing a firearm.
And you can't do anything with guns. You can talk about it in some degree, and that's it. Like, even having even having like a BB gun or a gun on your wall behind you is like decoration. You can't. You'll be banned. Yeah.
Well, here's the thing. My home office doubles as my gun room, so I have a gun wall to my left. Like, I have no place to point I have no place to point my camera where it's not, unless I point it at my keyboard and mouse, where there's no guns on the screen. And two is like, it seems like it's really starting to lean more liberal. And the other big thing is that I have 2 large dogs, and I would be streaming from my gun room. So if I ever actually gained any traction on Twitch, and to the point where somebody would think it would be cool to SWAT me, I would die.
Yeah, I mean, yeah,
it would be a death sentence for me. My dogs would be killed upon entrance because they're large dogs and they would jump all over the cops. So they'd be shot. That's standard operating procedure. Like, it might upset some people that I say that, but watch any videos, do a Google search. It's standard operating procedure for the officer's safety. And the other point is that I've got 3 guns on my desk and there's 8 more on the wall next to me. Like, a cop's going to walk in. My first reaction to somebody knocking down my front door is going to be to grab a gun. I'm going to get killed. So, you know, those are the 2 things that really put me off, because like I tried streaming once or twice through a VPN to sort of hide my location. And I'm, you know, obviously, given my background, I'm pretty familiar with OPSEC, but like the VPN makes streaming really bad, and there's such a delay that it makes viewer interaction somewhat difficult. But it's just, I don't know. Like, those are the things that like really keep me from doing it, which sucks, because I'm really kind of passionate about it. I really want to do it. To the point I've actually considered starting my own website where it's just me streaming. Like, hey, if you want to check me out, you know, we have Patreon now. Like, you know, sign up, don't subscribe. You know, do a Patreon or whatever. But, you know, yeah, it's, you know, it's something I'm passionate about. I've wanted to do for years, but there's just, you know, that whole swatting thing, just, it's not worth it to me for the cost benefit analysis. Sheepdog Nation app. Human Delta. I actually hate the term sheepdog. I think it gives us a false sense of pride, and I think it gives a false sense of needing to protect your community. I carry a gun to protect myself, and if I see somebody who's in imminent danger, then I'll interdict. But like, that whole sheepdog, like, I think that breeds a lot of sort of aggressive neighborhood watch mentality that kind of can get people into trouble and cause trouble for the people who do it too. So it's I don't know. That sheepdog thing's another topic to get into at another time.
Save it for next time, yeah.
Mike the Cop? I think I know who you're talking about.
Yeah, Mike the Cop's a funny guy. I follow him on Instagram. I do a lot of Mike the Cop. I think I watched a bunch of Donut Operator videos today, and then
Donut Operator?
Yeah, check him out. He's really good.
I definitely check that out.
He does a lot of like shooting breakdowns and whatnot.
I wish Operator Zero still did videos.
I never followed him or saw what he did.
He's this Italian special forces guy who could shoot the asshole off a fucking gnat at 100 yards with a Glock. Like, this guy, like, he was insane. He was absolutely insane. Like, his muscle memory was such, like, he would do these like really short YouTube videos. They were never monetized because his videos were like 45 seconds long. Like, he'd upload a video, right, where he'd draw a pistol from a thigh holster, put 2 rounds on target, they'd both hit the target, right? Another guy would go up and staple a target directly over that, put a blindfold on him, and by muscle memory alone, he'd hit the center of the target.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's like Operator Zero or something like that. Like, it was great because, you know, it's really broken English in like a really funny way, right?
Oh, like the Instructor Zero guy. I got you.
Yeah, Instructor Zero.
He's like, let me put a plastic bag over my head, let me count to 10, and then I'll start shooting.
Yeah, where he's like basically hypoxic while trying to shoot.
That's so silly. I mean, it's not silly, but that's like, I imagine someone who's like not in that community or in the know of that community walking in to be like, what the fuck is this? And then like seeing some dude with a plastic bag, and it's like, why are you doing that?
And now I will shoot the target while I am being garroted by this man. Yeah.
I love the way he says environment. He's like, in the environment. I'm like, yes, that sounds cool. That and aluminium, my favorite words in that pronunciation.
Dude, I have friends in manufacturing, and it's like even Americans in manufacturing will generally say aluminium.
Oh, and they work with people overseas, so
Yeah, it's again, that's a great topic for another podcast. It's the subtle differences in the English language amongst different cultures who speak it.
Yeah, I mean, write this stuff down while we have it in our heads. But I think we're quickly approaching the 3-hour mark, and it's probably about time for us to wrap this one up.
Yeah, it's 8:45. I haven't even really said hi to the wife yet. But,
yeah, me either. I gotta go do that.
Gotta put that time in, buddy.
Hmm?
Oh man, it's been a pleasure. Thanks for having me on the chat, man.
Yeah, it was fun. Hopefully you'll come back and do this again.
Yeah, I mean, if anybody learned anything from this, is I like talking, so I'm always down to join you guys.
Well, that's the point of these things, to talk.
All right, take it easy. Have a good night.
Hey, you too, man.
Good night, chat.
Alright folks, we can wrap this one up. Thank you all for hanging out and chatting with us on the various topics covered today. You can expect to see this video up on YouTube probably later on this weekend. If you haven't seen our YouTube channel, I'll link it now in the chat. There it is. If you like this stuff so far, check it out. There's some gameplay videos of Wolfpack on there and some highlights as well, other episodes. And like we saw today, go ahead and give me a follow here and you can see me when I stream again, and I'll also link the Discord I use to communicate with everyone on the happenings of the YouTube channel and this channel. But after that, that's all I got. So have a good night, guys. Have a good weekend. See you later.